Hello. Okay, wait, my mic arm is crazy looking. Okay. Hey everybody. How we doing? We are live here on I think it's Tuesday. Probably. It's Tuesday somewhere. How's everybody doing? Reading chat. Someone said companies will turn homophobic tomorrow. Are you referring to the end of Pride Month? Because yes, I'm sure they can't wait to stop pretending. But that's okay. We've got 12 months of the year where we can be prideful over here. Someone said, didn't Lizzo's new album sell under 1,000 copies? Not under 1,000, but it was fairly close. Yeah, unfortunately. But hey, everybody. Someone asked if we are watching, or is anybody watching Love Island? Welcome to the stream. If you are new, let me tell you how it goes. If this is your first stream, the first 30 minutes or so are exactly what you're getting now, which is basically just a gap session. And then around the 30-minute mark, that's when I start recording or get into today's topic. Today, we are actually, for me, for the first time in a while, going to be talking about Lizzo, who I don't think I've made a video about in years. I think a couple years ago, in 2023, when there was a lot going on with the lawsuit. I'm not actually sure I said anything about it, but recently she released an album and its underperformance has sort of reignited this conversation, and I would like to talk about it. I also thought I could give you a mini album review because I don't think I've reviewed an album since Katy Perry's 143, and there's something not right about Katy Perry being the last album review on this channel. Though I don't think Lizzo's new album, which is titled simply The B Word, but not euphemistically, is a great follow-up. Oh no. But that's okay. We will be fine. Someone said I like this look. Thank you. I like it too. That's why I put it on every single stream 3 times a week. Like a clown costume. Someone said I truly had no idea a new album had even happened. I believe that would be most people. In this case, the marketing clearly wasn't there. And then the controversies that Lizzo has been dealing with for literally years at this point certainly didn't help. Though, I feel as though she would maybe be in a better position if she was less indignant, I suppose, about the fact that anyone ever dared accuse her of inappropriate behavior in the workplace. But alas, someone said thank you for your sacrifice listening to albums. Well, hey, to be fair, I've been listening to a lot of really good albums too. Dancing on the Wall by Muna, I can't stop playing that one. It's fantastic. I don't know if I've ever mentioned that one on stream, but it's just like chef's kiss. It's been an absolute favorite, especially while running sometimes. Somebody said nice water bottle. Thank you. I show this one off all the time. Mr. Rogers did not adequately prepare me for the people in my neighborhood. And then I've got my little fruit charms, which are being like green screened out, but they're green, yellow, and orange. So I think that's very fun. Though I'm making a new water bottle soon because I've been wanting a black one to replace my last black one, which I lost at a convention center. And by lost, I mean they told me I could take it in, and then I did, and then I walked back out, and then I walked back in, and they're like, actually, you can't. And I was like, oh, okay. Bye, Hydro Flask. It's all right though. It's all right. Someone said I only know one Lizzo song, and I can't even think of the name of it. Good as Hell, probably. It would either be Good as Hell, Truth Hurts, or Juice is my guess. If you only know one Lizzo song and it's not one of those 3, I would be a little shocked because those are definitely her biggest ones. Someone said Muna's album is so good, 11 out of 10, recommend. Yes, I would have to agree. I think my favorite track on there is probably like, oh, I don't actually know because the tracks have a lot of different sounds, but I think Mary Jane is the one that's like the most poppiest, like the biggest, just it's the most banger song on the album. And then they have one, Why Do I Get a Good Feeling, or whatever that song is called, and it sounds like Imogen Heap. And so since I've kind of taken a break from listening to Imogen Heap because she's doing the AI music stuff, I'm happy to have something that sort of reminds me of that. And I also like Buzzkiller. The closer is really good, but then I also like the intro too. So I just think it's a good album in general. Yay. Someone said Juice is such a good song. Juice is very much a good song. Lizzo's a talented artist. I am definitely not here to like be a hater or like a liar, but alas, being a talented artist, you have to also be a few other things in order to remain successful. So I sing along to Mary Jane every time, even though I can't sing. Bro, same. It's okay. I feel like Yeah, there's no moral obligation to be a good singer in order to sing. I sing every single day. I try to make sure that I don't go 24 hours without singing, and it never ever gets better. But I feel good every time I do it. So let's go. Someone said, I think you finally convinced me to hop on the Moon train. Okay, good. Then I'll stop here. My work here is done. You can report back later and let me know next stream if you liked it or not. Someone said Imogen Heap is doing AI stuff. Oh, yeah. I bring this up every few weeks. But yes, unfortunately, it's not like a lie. It's kind of true. She's leaning into this AI Imogen or whatever she's named it, and it does involve generative AI stuff. And I'm just like, oh no, oh, that's okay. I mean, I don't think it's okay at all. Man, yeah, it just makes me sad. So I choose not to think about it. Someone said, I love singing. It's good for the mental health. It really is. And at this point, I will take anything that's good for the mental health. Okay. Any and everything. Life is too short. Oh, also, I'm really excited because I'm going to go watch Supergirl tomorrow. I'm not expecting it to be a great movie. I'm really, really not. I've never expected a superhero movie to be great. And therefore, I haven't often been disappointed. So I'm just expecting an entertaining time. So hopefully Supergirl entertains me tomorrow, and if it does that, yay, let's go. I also feel like I've seen a lot of discourse about how this is apparently based off of a comic book called Woman of Tomorrow, and it pales in comparison. That makes sense to me because I feel like oftentimes adaptations pale in comparison to their source material. Things always get lost when you turn text or even a comic book into a movie. But because I haven't read Woman of Tomorrow, I am like smooth brain. I'm going into this like a baby. I'm like, I don't know what this is based on, so I have no expectations. So I feel like I should enjoy it a little bit more than people who are fans of the source material. And then maybe after I watch the movie, I can read the comics and then be like, oh yeah, no, that wasn't it, Chief. I lost the comment. Oh no, they said as a music educator, I love casual appreciation of singing. Heck yeah. What kind of music education do you do? There's so many ways of musicking. I do electronic stuff like my intro song, which is very fun. I've been working on other music, but then I'm running into this, like, I call it Netflix syndrome, where basically I have too many options because I have so many unfinished songs, bro. Like, the amount of music on my computer existing in an unfinished state is simply appalling. And like, I keep trying to like lay down the top lines, and I'm like, I have to finish the rest of it. Or like, I'll make a chorus and then it's really great, and I'm like, okay, that's enough dopamine, and I don't write the verses. Or I'll make an instrumental and I'm like, this is really pretty, and then I never put anything on top of it, or vice versa. Just recording a top line by itself, and then I'm like, I'm never producing this. So I really need to stop doing the individual parts of making a song and then just do them all for one song. Stop doing a top line vocal here and instrumental here and a full arrangement there, and just pull my resources into one thing, and then maybe I will finish something finally. Womp womp womp. Someone said choice paralysis. Yeah, very much that, unfortunately. Someone said musical ADHD. Well, it certainly doesn't help me. I'll say that. I mean, it helps in the ways that it does, and it doesn't in the ways that it doesn't. And that's how I would describe ADHD, yes. Someone said that as the producer cursed the 1,000 unfinished songs folder. Bro, and some of that stuff is literally fire, but like, it doesn't matter. If I play 15 seconds of a song for you and you're like, wow, D'Angelo, that was so good, and there's no rest of it, it doesn't serve a purpose, which is really the saddest thing about trying to create, or rather trying to finish artwork. I feel like no matter what the medium is, and I've seen this apply to my own illustration as well as music and even my writing, but oftentimes the core beauty can be sketched out much faster than the complete project can be finished. And so if I have something that I do consider to be a good idea for a song, a story, a passage or whatever, it usually only takes a few minutes to get that down. An illustration is usually just a few key gestures, and then everything else is in service of trying to render that so that it looks nice to people who want to see more detail. I just feel like for me personally, like art is me explaining why the core idea is good, but oftentimes I struggle to move past the core once I finish it, and I'm like, okay, it's beautiful, and I move on to the next thing that is shiny and exciting and this other idea that I have. And so yeah, I essentially have never really been able to break out of that habit with any of my creative pursuits, unfortunately. Luckily, like, I don't run into this problem with YouTube videos because I do feel a lot of motivation to finish them for so many reasons. It being my job is one of them, but like, I at least have convinced myself that the core dopamine comes from the sharing of a video, and therefore I must complete it before I can get the feedback I'm looking for. But I gotta lock in with the rest of my creative pursuits for real, bro. For real, for real. Someone said, I love hearing about your musicking. What's your primary instrument? The computer. That's my primary instrument, is the computer. I've been playing the computer musically for, I think, 5 years now, consistently, and on and off my entire life. So, yay. And when I say the computer, I mean electronic music production tools. I am not referring to generative AI trash, because that's not music. So, but yeah, I also can pluck out a few chords on a ukulele, and I understand how a piano works. That's it. I've never so much as touched another instrument. Well, I guess guitar. I'm really, really bad at it, because the thing is, I am literally a baby. And so I'll start playing, and then my fingers will hurt because I never actually play guitar. And then I stop, and I'm just like, oh, this hurts my fingers. Wah. And then I put the instrument down and I never touch it. Then I come back a year later and I'm like, actually, playing guitar is so cool and hot, so I'm going to do it. And then I go through the same process where I'm like, well, this hurts my fingers, so I give up again. So yeah, if I could push through the pain and the discomfort of doing all of these positions for these chords that feel so deeply unnatural to me, maybe I could pick up guitar. Womp, womp, womp. Someone said the ukulele phase is real. Exactly. And then the thing is, like, a ukulele is not a halfway step between zero and guitar, which is what I thought it was, because I was ignorant. And then when I picked it up and I realized, oops, this is an instrument that has its own cultural history as well as very much complexity, and is not necessarily meaningfully less difficult just because it does not have as many strings as your typical guitar. I was in hell. I was in hell. Someone said it stops hurting pretty quickly, but then if you try and play a bar chord, it's rough. That was the thing. Like, I would be fine with the basics, but I would be more interested in trying to do more complex things like hammering or this, that, the other. I'm like, oh, I want to play the guitar in Ed Sheeran's I See Fire, which is his best song, by the way. And then I learn essentially that you have to do these weird like finger techniques called hammering. And then that goes back to hurting again because it feels unnatural. So alas, so much power to the people who have the discipline and are not as lazy as I am and have learned guitar. Yay. Yay. Someone said 21 Pilots convinced me to get a ukulele, and then I realized I have no idea how to play one. It's okay. It's not hard. Well, it's not hard to learn like the basics. I literally feel like you could pick up like simple chords in a week, probably. But then anything beyond that is whatever. But like the beautiful part is you don't really need much beyond simple chords, really, for all of the extensions and the inversions and the augmentations and the diminishments and the multiple beautiful things you can do with chords, slash, power, etc. None of that matters because people don't know what that means. They only care about whether it sounds good or not. So if you are literally just using the 4 basic pop chords, you probably are just as likely to make something that is a banger and that is appreciated by people as if you were doing like some complex, insane, like jazz theory type wizardry. So keep that in mind. You really only ever have to do the basics. I swear to God. You don't even have to learn like, you probably only need to learn like 4 chords at most. And then you will want to learn the rest as you grow, I feel. Reading chat. Someone said I just joined. What is he talking about? Well, currently we're talking about ukuleles, chords, and learning new instruments. But in approximately 10 minutes, after a couple more conversations, we will be talking about Lizzo. Bop, bop, bop. Someone said those 4 chords are universal. For real, bro. I also like, I get kind of like, what's the word I want to use? When people start like crapping on the 4 common chords, because I'm just like, it's funny that some people, when they understand and they realize that a lot of pop music is built on very similar structures, they will start using that to see the genre as less than. But like, you do have to acknowledge on some level that almost anything that can be considered a genre is going to be built on repeating structures, even if they happen to contain more complexity than your average pop track. My AC has just turned on, so I'm going to turn that off. If you like a genre at all, you like repetition, even if you don't realize it. Because the reason we like repetition is we like the subversion that can come after that. But that's just my opinion, and that is why I will always champion pop music as equally valid, honestly, and complex as any other genre. Someone said some amazing songs use few chords. Some amazing songs use 2 chords, like for real, for real. You probably could pull out a 1 chord song if you start looking elsewhere and in other cultures too. So like, come on, bro. Come on. Someone said, I'm going to college in the fall, and the closer I get, the more I want to learn guitar. I think it's a canon event. You can do it. Start now. Someone said ukulele is also great to start with because it's so much more affordable. It is, though. It really is. Guitars can be expensive. They can be. I mean, any instrument can be incredibly expensive, but there is a massive price differential between a guitar and a ukulele. Someone said, in music theory, they teach you all about form and music cadences. Literally all music uses repeating formulas. Exactly. You might think to yourself like, well, I exclusively listen to hyper death, deconstructed bloodcore, and I'm like, that's great. The very fact that you can even name the music as hyper death deconstructed bloodcore means it's likely using very similar structures and the same patterns, and people are just doing different things with it while still maintaining a recognizable feel. Like, I don't know, music elitists are just, they're silly. I can't take them seriously. I can't. I'm sorry. I just can't take music elitists seriously, and I never will, because they're not as smart as they think they are. They're really, really not. And some of the music is basically pattern arrangement. You can only, I feel as though when you're creating artwork, in my opinion, this is just my take, there's only 2 things you can do. You can either do what is expected or what is unexpected. And what is unexpected is still a function of what is expected. So like, if you're whipping up a beautiful portrait and then you're like, nah, you know what? I think I'm going to go in with like these crazy purple highlights in the face. That's unexpected, right? But you're still doing that as a reaction to what would have been expected. So even things that actually are beautiful and original, unique, etc., still wouldn't exist without the very same structures that people like to crap on. I just find it to be so silly. Oh, someone said low-key, so much music elitism boils down to racism and misogyny. Well, when you look at some of the most maligned music genres, being pop and rap, I would have to agree with you. I certainly would. You just came right out and said it. And it's a lot of times it's using like, or attempting to use music theory and some sort of like knowledge as an excuse for why you actually just really hate this music because it's popular with women, or you hate this music because black people made it, or insert your reason. And people, I honestly feel like people don't even realize the extent of what lives within them, and so that's why they start misusing music science. It's very stupid. And there is no science in music. I mean, there really is, because it's only science, but it's also just magic. I don't know. It's silly. But shout that out. Shout that one out right there. Someone said, finally caught a stream right in time. Going to listen to this while I work. My colleagues and I were talking about this. A few other creators, they were like looking at their analytics and they were like, how the hell do I have viewers every single day of the week? Like, I thought, I would think like when people are at work, it would be less of viewership. And I was telling them like, oh, you should see my live streams. People be watching hella YouTube at work. I feel like it's such an underrepresented demographic of like people who have you on in the background, or you're just kind of like lightly body doubling for people who are like knocking off their daily tasks, etc. I was like, never underestimate the power of people who are working while consuming YouTube. And I was like, because if you think about it, we as creators also do the same thing. I will certainly have things up while working on the very videos that you're seeing. Someone said, I'm watching you at work. I'm at work right now. Exactly. Okay, wait, hold on. This comment right here. Oh, there's so many. I got to scroll back up. This is coming from someone who loves pop. It can be too manufactured. Oh no, it's going away. Okay. I'm going to try to recreate your comment from memory. It said something along the lines of, this is coming from someone who loves pop, but it can be too manufactured when you are forcing essentially the music to stay within its expected form. I agree. And I also would agree that this happens more often in pop music than it does in other genres. However, I personally just also find generic music and uninspired music in every genre. There's also like metal that is literally so ridiculously formulaic, and it's like, come on guys, you know what I mean? There's country music, well, which is basically pop music, that is so incredibly formulaic, it's just ridiculous. So I agree totally that like sometimes it can totally be uninspired, but to write off an entire genre, as you know, as a pop fan, it don't make no sense. It really don't. Sometimes I'm about to leave work now. Oh, let's go. I love the feeling of leaving work. Nothing is more fun than being like, I am done for the day. Goodbye. Someone said not allowing women enough freedom was part of that person's chat too. Oh, I didn't even see that. Yeah, okay, that's a whole other angle that I wasn't thinking about. Yeah, sorry, your message just appeared before I saw it because y'all are popping off at work. But yeah, no, there's, man, pop music and misogyny and as racism as that other person mentioned, like somebody smarter than me should just do a whole thing, because I would watch the hell out of it for sure. I would. Someone said the music industry is so complex. It is. And there's so many different music industries. As a whole, it refers to a bunch of collective industries, but you've got country, you've got pop, you've got rap, and they all have their own highs and lows and so many problems. And then you've got music here for me being the United States, music elsewhere. You've got K-pop, J-pop, everything, just everywhere all at once. Shout out A24. Just kidding. The AI 24 now, so I hate them. Oh, but wait, speaking of which, I don't know if this is A24 or not, but did you see Robert Eggers' new movie? The trailer dropped for Werewolf. The guy who did Nosferatu and The Lighthouse and I think The Witch is now doing a movie about werewolves. And I'm just excited about that because like, I just hope this movie is so ridiculous. I really, really do. Sometimes I love the pink background. Thank you. I love the pink as well. I have so much fun with it. I just realized I got to turn on my other computer. That way we can get into the topic in a little bit. Someone said the backrooms was fire. It really, really was. Someone said I hate them too. FAI24. I know. They were so corny for that. So corny. Someone said Werewolf looks wild. It does. Someone said, can we watch the trailer? No, we cannot watch the trailer because I think there is like brief nudity in it or something. The kind of thing where YouTube is fine if you upload it as a standalone video, but then me including it in this video, I would somehow get in trouble. But the trailer looks great and I don't have a problem with brief nudity. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Okay, I'm trying to restart my other computer because it is acting. Oh, just kidding. Never mind. Everything is great. Everything's Gucci. Okay, let's pull up the second monitor. Someone said the pink is so slaylicious. I mean, you got to wake up every day. You have two options: slay or nay. Personally, I choose slay. I'm not gonna lie though, I be choosing nay all the time. Sometimes I wake up every day and I'm like, am I gonna serve God's gift to earth, realness, or am I just going to be lazy? And then I just choose laziness. I just roll out of bed and just hobble around like a goblin and pray that no one sees me. And then the next day I wake up and I'm like, okay, it's time to get back. So you can't really be the bomb every day. Or if you can, I have so much respect for you, but that's too much energy for me. Okay, let's see. I am going to cast to my second monitor. Someone said, I'm excited to hear this Lizzo discourse. This sounds like a good time for a disclaimer. Because I'm excited to give it too, but I have some mixed feelings that I would like to talk to you about before I start recording. And I'm probably going to say all this again after I start recording, but like it helps to get it out in an unstructured way. Point blank period. The things that Lizzo did do wrong have been used as a misogynistic, racist hate campaign against her, which I think immediately creates a multiple things are true scenario in which me acknowledging that she has obviously and clearly done things that are wrong, in my opinion, it's difficult to do without playing into some of the very same rhetoric that people are using simply because they hate the position that she's always occupied. And so I feel like not acknowledging that a lot of people who do talk about her, bro, they're just, these people have always hated Lizzo, to be quite honest. I was there, I saw it, and when something finally happened or was revealed or was brought to light that seems like a reason, then people just started going crazy, going stupid with that, and it was very clear to see. So I hope I don't have to say none of my criticism for Lizzo is, I guess, like stemming from some sort of hatred of her or what she represents, because that was never the problem. And just because that was why y'all being the weirdos out there, not here, hopefully, had an issue with her, it's like her turning out to be a bad person doesn't actually excuse the way people were talking about her at any point. So tricky. Tricky. Someone said the misogyny, racism, and fat phobia towards her was there day one and hasn't stopped. Yeah, exactly. And you know, the sad thing is you see this a lot when people who do anything, the public catches hold of it, and without saying it in these exact words, you kind of get the feeling that there's this societal glee of like, oh, finally we do have a reason to tear this person down. And it's just like, wow. Y'all are really not slick with this. But that being said, again, if you do something wrong, you should be called out. I think the lawsuit, with it being alleged, obviously there are allegations, but it's the way she has handled all of it hasn't been good. The things that were being alleged aren't good. And there's also just other things involving like the Chris Brown support and other just... She's not somebody where I'm just going to ignore all the things she did wrong just because some other people are using them for the wrong reasons, I suppose, is the best way I can put that. But yeah, y'all piss me off. And I would feel a lot better about having these conversations if I wasn't having to weed between the weirdos, or weed out the weirdos. Someone said, as much as I'm not a fan of Lizzo, the combo of misogynoir and fat phobia took its toll, and I wish people were more honest about it. I mean, yeah, I think I'm going to say this like disconnecting from Lizzo for a second, because I don't want you to take this as an excuse for anything she's done. Let's just talk about hypothetically. There is literally just too much glee when certain people reveal themselves to be bad people and people feel justified finally in their unplaceable dislike or their unplaceable hatred that they've always had for the celebrity. When it finally gets justified, instead of thinking to themselves like, oh, that's not good because I shouldn't want more bad in the world, people are like, yay, I was right. And it's like, okay, well, that's That's great. So that by the way, that undercurrent is literally always running through commentary, no matter who I'm talking about. And I always try to make sure I'm somebody who's not coming across as super like gleeful of like, yes, bad people are doing bad things. I'm so excited because I have someone to be mad at, and it's like I usually am more just like, oof, bad people are doing bad things. And I feel as though it reveals a lot about how we talk about these issues. And let's look into the discourse. But it's just tricky, man. Someone said, yeah, man, there's such a fun line between hate and criticism. And so many people just blur the distinction. For sure, for sure. That's always going to be a thing, I suppose, in this space. It's inextricable, but at the same time, I was finding myself getting a little tired just pulling some of the sources from or for this video and just thinking like, God, do I just wish so much of this wasn't being framed through weird fat phobic racism by a lot of the people talking about it. Somebody said, I don't care who it is, if an artist collabs to show support for Chris Brown, you're blocked on Spotify, it could be my favorite. Yeah, no, to be clear, bro, she's washed. If I can pull this back into a Lizzo conversation for a second. No. Like nothing I just said literally is the reason why I'm gonna be like, guys, I think that we should be like nicer or give her a pass. I think you should all stop being racist. And I think you should all stop being fatphobic. And by you, I also mean me, because I internalize everything as a product of growing up in a society. But I also think we should stop platforming abusers and just minimizing allegations of abuse. And so if you yourself are doing that, then you have to get called out no matter who you are, is how I feel. That's my opinion personally. And I don't see those things as being conflicting or contradictory in any way. So that's just what it is. Anyways, I saw someone in chat, I'm pulling up my outline right now, say, do you think it's possible to separate the art from the artist? You must not have been here for a few of my conversations. I have a catchphrase. You don't have the power to separate the art from the artist. It's not something a consumer of art can actually do in any meaningful way. Maybe when you're like analyzing it, that's possible, perhaps. But as far as like consuming, nah, I don't think you can. Unless, of course, you're being very intentional and making sure that in no way is your consumption of this media supporting the people who create it. But you just have to be careful with that kind of thing. Someone started talking about her album flop. We're about to. I was just throwing out a disclaimer before we started. I feel like it's useful to just kind of let people know where I'm coming from. Because alternatively, if let's say we have a topic and I haven't actually said anything about this person since 2021, and like you're watching this and you're like listening to me and you're just like, is this motivated by like hatred or like some weird we hate women energy or whatever it is? And I just feel like it's just better to be blunt and be like, no, it's not. No, thank you. Someone said, thank you, the two are intrinsically interconnected. You can't have one without the other. That's how I feel. All right, so I think I'm gonna start. Hold on, wait. Do I need some more water? Let me drink the rest of this really fast. No, I need more. I'm trying to stay hydrated as hell, bro. There's not enough hydration in this world. Okay, I'm gonna be right back, and then we're gonna actually start. We're gonna actually begin. Oof. Okay. and to turn up the fan. It's been so hot. I can't believe how hot it is. Sorry, I just sound like a complainer. It's not even as hot here as it is in other places. And yeah, I'm just like, and then the heat is like zapping my energy. Does anybody feel that way? I'm sure you do. I'm asking this as if I haven't had multiple people in my life tell me this already. But like, excuse me, there's literally something about when it starts reaching those summer temperatures that are upon us already, where I just don't feel like doing anything. I don't feel like doing anything. I hope this doesn't sound like entitled influencer energy. I mean anything, whether that's the chores that I should be doing or like cleaning or like, oh, I should call this person back. And I'm just like, well, it's 95 degrees Fahrenheit outside, so I won't be doing any of that, actually. It's so bad. Someone said, I'm a redhead, the heat and I do not get along. Oh, you just be out there burning, huh? Oh, no. The sun's like, your skin finna match your hair. That's rough, buddy. That's rough. To be fair, though, we all burn in the sun. We all got to protect ourselves. Someone said it's supposed to be 102 in New Jersey this week. 102? Someone said, as a French dude, I did nothing last week during the heat wave, and I blame you. I blame you. And I don't blame you, because I did the same thing. Heat exhaustion. Yeah, heat zaps all of my energy. Bro, it's just crazy. The sun feels hateful. The last place you'll be catching me is outside. Thank you all for understanding. All right. Someone said it's snowing in Idaho. The earth is literally not real. Everybody say hi. Everybody say hi to YouTube right now. Because I'm recording the intro. Someone said, are you still running? Oh, we never stop running over here. Lizzo dropped an album 3 weeks ago. I didn't realize this either, but actually in those 3 weeks since, she's been spiraling a little bit, making a bunch of excuses for why this has been the biggest flop of her career thus far. It kind of seems to anyone on the outside like the answer is probably because of the multiple scandals that she has not taken any accountability for in any way, shape, or form. But as Lizzo would have it, it's actually just because people hate her and also no one listens to the radio anymore. So let's unpack that and see what's really happening. Plus, you'll get a mini review of my new album. Plus, you'll get a mini review of her new album, The B Word. It's just that word. I don't want to catch a demonetization 10 seconds into the video, so alas. All right, let's go. That's good. Oh, thank you for the rainbows. There was so much like gay energy happening, and I'm glad because I forgot to sell you to do that, but you did it anyway. And that's the kind of initiative we love to see people take here in the D'Angelo live stream. All right, let's see. But you know what's funny though? I'm kind of thinking we should just continue pissing people off, and like in July, which is tomorrow, for some cursed reason, we should just keep doing rainbow emojis in the intros, because why not? If that's the kind of thing that's going to bother people, clicking into a video and seeing 1 million pride, oh, that's the other side, seeing 1 million pride flags, then just let's keep doing it. I think it's going to be great. All right. But anyways, enough with the rainbows for now. We're going to talk about Lizzo. So Lizzo is a musician. I haven't actually made a video about her since I think 2021, but since then she's had a couple of really major scandals, a few pop culture moments that are worth reviewing. One thing I would like to say, just not to get lost in this conversation, she is talented. She's actually a fantastic singer, rapper, dancer, and yes, flutist as well. And man, I almost don't even know how to describe how impactful Lizzo was for a very specific time period. I would call it the turn of the decade. You can see back in 2020 when she won Best New Artist at the iHeartRadio Music Awards. Let's pop this up a little bit. And her image at the time was that of somebody who was just like, I don't know, cool. She was nice. She wanted people to feel good about themselves. Body positivity was a very large part of her brand, which she later transitioned into body neutrality. All right, let's see. Someone says she's so pretty. All right, let's see.
So excited right now. I can get so lit. Thank you to all of the fans.
Wait, because you can't even hear anything at all because I am bad at mixing audio live. Okay, whatever.
Thank you so much for this award too. I'm so excited right now. I can get so lit. Thank you to all of the fans who supported me and who discovered me and made this last year unforgettable. Y'all, I need to get in the studio right now because y'all making me feel like I need to put some new music out right motherfucking now. Sorry for cussing, but right now.
She had an authenticity to her, I mean, as much as a massive global pop star can, and it was fairly refreshing at the time, yes. Someone said, reading chat. Wasn't she doing a Thomas J tribute and twerking? I don't know, but part of her brand at one point was playing the flute while twerking simultaneously, which I can't do those things separately, so catch me impressed. I think one of her biggest tracks was Good as Hell, which is literally just a song about feeling good as hell. As you see, this was 10 years ago, and since then, let's see, pulling the second track I would like to reference, which I cannot. Oh yeah, Tempo. No copyright. She frequently featured messages of self-acceptance in her music as well, showcasing a variety of diverse dancers too. We've got it. Okay, that's Lizzo. I feel like low-key, almost everyone knew that. But then I have to remind myself that like I'm slightly old. Actually, I'm gonna put this in the video. I'm gonna put this in the video right now. I was almost tempted to just skip past my intro of Lizzo because in my mind, like, everyone knows this, but then I remind myself I'm actually turning 28 in less than 2 months. I'm not the youngest person on YouTube, and it actually is very possible to have never really meaningfully heard of Lizzo or be familiar with her peak in any way, shape, or form. So let's just throw that out there. Someone say you're a baby. I mean, I'm young and old simultaneously. What can I do about it? Someone said 10 years is a third of my life. Mine too, I guess. Pulling up the lawsuit, which I can't believe happened 3 years ago, by the way. Someone said I'm 30, so I'm the old person here. Someone said I'm 43, F you. See, look, we've got, there's so many new and exciting ways to be old. You can be 30, you could be 40, you could be 50. Of course, none of these ages are old if you don't want them to be. That's the secret sauce right there. Someone said chat older than D'Angelo. Be real with yourself. You were calling yourself old at 28. I mean, even if you weren't, I feel old sometimes. But then I feel like a baby, though. I'm literally a baby. Like, I'm... like, not to be annoying, but I'm literally baby. The IRS is like, where are them taxes at, Mr. Self-Employed Business Person? And I'm like... I literally was in 5th grade, like, yesterday. It's okay, though. It's okay. I'm gonna be okay. So I'm 19 and I knew that. Okay, good. Yeah. Okay, moving on, though. I mostly bring up what her image was like at the time to illustrate how much the sexual harassment lawsuit rocked her image, because it seemed antithetical almost to everything that she stood for. So this is an article from 2023 when this occurred. Lizzo sued by backup dancers for sexual harassment and creating hostile work environment. And before we look at the details, this really spiraled into a story of, oh my gosh, Lizzo, body positivity plus feel good queen, was being mean to people, abusing them, and also being fatphobic. Okay. So, as per Enemy... oh, wait, hold on. I'm going to read the details of this, so I would like to give a trigger warning for sexual harassment. As per NME, the alleged incident of sexual harassment mentioned supposedly took place in a strip club in Amsterdam, where they, being the backup dancers who sued her, visited a show earlier this year. The dancers claim Lizzo allegedly bullied one of them into touching a nude performer to the point where she led a chant goading her into doing so until she eventually gave in, despite declining multiple times. The suit states that Lizzo began inviting cast members to take turns touching the nude performers, catching dildos launched from the performers' private parts and eating bananas protruding from the performer's private parts. Continuing, Lizzo then turned her attention onto Miss Davis and began pressuring her to touch one of the nude women in an intimate way. It was a story as per the victims, or it was a story as per the allegations of being pressured into an environment where you're being asked to do sexual acts by your boss in this place where it seems normal enough, but like the whole context of them working for Lizzo is obviously why they are framing this as harassment, which I would agree with. If this is what happens, it would be textbook sexual harassment. Plaintiffs were aghast with how little regard Lizzo showed for the bodily autonomy of her employees and those around her, especially in the presence of many people whom she employed. And then they also talk a little bit about the alleged fat phobia of Lizzo calling attention to one of the performers' weight, etc. Someone said I missed this part. Yeah, I think what happened after this, from my perspective, because again, it's been a couple of years, is Lizzo hasn't necessarily said much about the actual sexual harassment of it all, or what she has isn't great. A lot of this is more so her shooting down the claims of fat phobia and trying to say my image was real, I wasn't faking that, but I do think you should know exactly what was being alleged and what was said. Someone said I forgot about that part. Yeah, no, obviously because society, here's like, I'm probably not going to put this in the video because it's inflammatory. But like, it's really annoying that society literally cares more about like fat people existing than it does about sexual harassment. And I'm sorry if that just sounds like I'm just saying random words, but I swear to God, I watched it turn into temporarily, and in some spaces still more of a story about like, oh my gosh, Lizzo being fat phobic, we got her, and just completely brushing over the actual sexual harassment allegations. And I'm just like, but anyways, I'm not putting that in the video. That's a personal frustration I have. I have so much frustration with all of this, honestly. I do. I everything about this is frustrating in a lot of different ways, but it is what it is. Moving from that, I'm glad people are saying like, you see what I'm saying. I see people saying like, you're right. You feel me on that one. You really do. If I can figure out a less inflammatory way of putting it, maybe I'll put it in the video. Lizzo responds to sexual harassment lawsuit. This was in 2023. False allegations and sensationalized stories. So, in the statement posted Thursday to her Twitter account, she said that the allegations were, quote, as unbelievable as they sound and too outrageous to not be addressed. And we're getting into some tricky territory here. Okay. Before I read the rest of this, I just want to say, even in cases where I believe, or even in cases where someone may even be falsely accused or allegations might actually be false, I find the way a lot of people respond to allegations to be not great. When you come in hot and you're just like, these people sound crazy, and they are crazy. This is unbelievable. Why would I ever? I don't think that's super useful in the grander context of how we should meet allegations coming from anybody, true or otherwise. Focusing on the supposed unbelievability of them just kind of, I don't know, I find it icky. Reading chat. Someone said it was a pretty callous response. Yeah. But anyways, that's me. Let me just read what she said. I am not the villain that people and the media have portrayed me to be these last few days. I'm very open with my sexuality and expressing myself, but I cannot accept or allow people to use that openness to make me out to be something I'm not. So she called attention to, or she pointed out the claims of calling attention to a dancer's weight gain, and said, there's nothing I take more seriously than the respect we deserve as women in the world. I know what it feels like to be body shamed on a daily basis and would absolutely never criticize or terminate an employee because of their weight. Then this is kind of mentioning the sexual harassment claims. But it says right here, in her statement on Thursday, Lizzo did not address the lawsuit's individual accusations, but said they were sensationalized stories and that they're coming from former employees who have already publicly admitted that they were told their behavior on tour was inappropriate and unprofessional. And she broadly defended herself against what she called an attack on her ethic, morals, and respectfulness. As an artist, I've always been very passionate about what I do. I take my music and my performances seriously because at the end of the day, I only want to put out the best art that represents me and my fans. With passion comes hard work and high standards. Sometimes I have to make hard decisions, but it's never my intention to make anyone feel uncomfortable or like they aren't valued as an important part of the team. So thinking of how to word this, because when you start talking about lawsuits, you have to be really careful to make sure that you're not spreading misinformation. From my perspective, unless I am missing it, which I'm very much open to, I don't even think Lizzo has meaningfully responded to the sexual harassment claims, which obviously I would understand with there being an ongoing case. But you do see she does have defenders who like to say, actually, all of these claims were dropped. The harassment was dropped. So there's no proof that this is true. And yes, there's no proof to us that this is true, but it's not true that these sexual harassment claims were dropped. Pulling this right here. In fact, she was sued a second time. Lizzo sued by another ex-employee over bullying and harassment claims, and these were dropped. Let's see. Pulling the dropped right here. Okay, BBC, calm down. Harassment case against Lizzo dropped. But like, this isn't the same thing that she was initially responding to. That's still happening. Another thing is individual parts of that initial lawsuit have been dropped, but again, still not these most serious claims. Pulling this right here. Okay, great. And so while this article loads, from my perspective, Lizzo has mostly been able to avoid addressing the elephant in the room by fixating on the claims of fat phobia. I wasn't fat phobic. I didn't do that one thing. Well, I'm trying. I'm trying to load this article. So I saw somebody ask if there's mods here. There's multiple mods. Trust. You are being moderated. Okay, I have no idea why one of the articles I have, which is actually pretty important, is not working. Hold on, chat. I'm gonna make it work. Cross your fingers for me. Okay. That means I have to find the part I was looking for again. Sorry, chat. Give me a second. On FFB claims. I'm looking at my outline, which is okay, so the part that was supposed to be highlighted was former. Okay, we'll start here. We will start here. Anyways, there is this very, and I do mean very, long interview with Lizzo from the end of last year that kind of talks about where she's at, how she responded to a lot of this. And Chad, I'm going to be quite honest with you. We're not about to read all of this. But I think the part that's relevant would be right around here. Someone said, not the article working against you. I know. Paid actor. All right. Here we go. So it's kind of talking about the fallout after the accusations. A few former collaborators spoke out in support of the dancers, citing their own negative experiences working with Lizzo. A documentarian revealed she had dropped out of a project with Lizzo in 2019 because she was treated with such disrespect. Op-eds and think pieces questioned how her empire of positivity could harbor such toxicity. People came to her defense. 18 staffers, including a number of dancers, signed declarations disputing many of the claims made against her. A few weeks later, before she was set to receive the Quincy Jones Humanitarian Award at the Black Music Action Gala. That's when that second lawsuit hit. And Lizzo went on stage and made a tearful speech, promising that despite her current situation, she was going to, quote, continue to put on and represent and create safe spaces for Black fat women, because that's what the F I do. It is my purpose, and it is an honor. The allegation that almost undid her wasn't sexual harassment or accusations of a hostile work environment. It's that anyone would believe she had fat shamed someone. This says so much that I can't even get into right now. But it was that anyone would believe she had fat shamed someone, that anyone would think everything she had been living and embodying was performative and for profit. How can any of that be performative and fake when it was my actual life? Who can keep I can't read. Who can keep that facade up for years for people to say it's beneficial to be body positive when that wasn't even the trend? I made it the trend. I'm one of the ones who forged it. So that's kind of Lizzo's stance. Again, this is literally my biased view, but it's kind of a lawsuit that's like, hey, you were sexually harassing your employees and also being fatphobic. And Lizzo's like, first of all, I'm not fatphobic. So I just don't think any of this has been a great response. Pulling this right here. Give me a second. I'm trying to pull up these quotes from Bro, is my eyesight getting worse? Let me zoom in because I literally cannot read my own outline right now. Okay, there we go. Now I can actually read. So, lawsuit rocks our image. She responds, focuses on the fatphobia claims. Why do I feel like I'm missing? Okay, it's right here, actually. And in a incredibly strange video posted last year shortly before Christmas, Lizzo gave what I believe is one of the most recent updates about this case, which has been going on since 2023. I'm going to mute it because she put it in front of like copyrighted music for some reason. Chat, I don't know why this wasn't just posted as normal text that can be read, but it's okay. So she said, the fat shaming claims against me have been officially dropped by my accusers. They conceded it had no merit in court. And then we just have to wait for it to get to the next one. I can't. Lizzo, surely there was a more readable... Okay, sorry. There was no evidence that I fired them because they gained weight. Because it... Oh, whoa. Oh, God. I can't do this. I literally can't do this. I can't even zoom in. I hate TikTok so much. Anyways, sorry. There was no evidence that I fired them because they gained weight. Because it never happened. Now, the truth is finally out. And it's like, the truth about what, Lizzo? I think there's still a major part of this case ongoing. And then we wait for the next one. On God, she's literally just standing there. They weren't fired for gaining weight. They were fired for taking a private recording of me without my consent and sending it off to my ex-employees, she says. Okay. I've never fired an employee for gaining weight. I've only encouraged and supported people with bigger bodies and shared my platform with them. Waiting. I'm gonna cry. Here we go. This claim has haunted me since the day it came out. It's been devastating to suffer through this in silence, but I let my lawyers lead, and I'm so grateful for this victory. I can't stress this enough. she hasn't won anything. This is kind of like being at halftime during a sports game and you're 1 point in the lead and you're like, we basically won. Did you though? Also, I don't really know sports, so that analogy might have made no sense, but I feel as though you understand me. All right, we wait. This is such an unserious video, dog. Oh my God, why is that one there for so long? Here we go. I am still in a legal battle. I am not settling. I will be fighting every single claim until the truth is out. And it's really those every single claims that are doing some heavy lifting here. If you were to take a look at the comments on this post of hers, which went pretty viral on TikTok, they're just so interesting. Gonna move this over so you can read the comments a little bit better. Someone said it's very unserious and unsettling to do this on TikTok. Yeah, I would agree. I don't like. Okay, that's okay. That's okay. The fact that people turned on you so fast is crazy. The fact that anyone would claim one of the most body positive celebrities of body shaming, or I guess they mean accuse. The fact that anyone would accuse one of the most body positive celebrities of body shaming is wild to me. The truth won't be reported like the accusations. Trust me, we all knew the claims were absurd. When the truth comes out, it's quiet. The media outlets that repeated okay. She just hasn't cleared anything, dog. And I'm just gonna pull this right here. Okay, great. I'm going to move on from the whole lawsuit thing, but just leave it here. Lizzo celebrates as fat shaming claims are dismissed, which is absolutely true. But as the BBC points out, while those specific allegations have been dropped, the case against Lizzo and her production company will continue over claims that the three dancers were subject to sexual harassment. So I personally feel that this singular incident has done more to her brand over such an extended period of time than like anything else she could have done, because whereas people might have been dropping her over the fat phobia without knowing whether it happened or not, just the absolute refusal to acknowledge the sexual harassment part of this, whether it's for legal reasons or not, it just comes across so poorly. And I find a lot of her framing of this as some sort of unmerited attack against her brand to be disingenuous, when truthfully it has just been multiple women coming forward and saying we felt abused in this environment. That's my take on it. It's hard to have takes on like legal proceedings when I don't have access to more of the evidence than anybody else does. But as for what is available to me, I don't know of any other way of reading that. Do we have any other thoughts on that before I move on to her mixtape era? Because I just want to make sure that I'm being fair in my presentation of this. A lot of the people who talk about her are just so ridiculously unfair. And it makes me deeply uncomfortable because I know why it's happening, but I want to make sure like this is reading correctly and it feels nuanced enough. Someone said I just joined. I didn't miss it all, did I? You kind of missed the part where I was explaining why I find Lizzo's response to her recent controversy to be incredibly problematic. But you are just in time for the part where we look at how she's followed this all up with her mixtape and her album. Someone in chat said, I feel like it's a double standard because men in power have done worse and still kept their position in power, but this ongoing case for her got her career in the toilet. That is true, though. There is a double standard. And frankly, accusations of sexual harassment would literally, unfortunately, just be a blip on other people's radar if those other people were different. In fact, we have quite literally seen, like, when people talk about Kanye West, there are obviously multiple glaring issues that should be brought up, but I find that the allegations of sexual misconduct are usually just completely ignored, even by mainstream media outlets. So you're right that there is a double standard for sure. Someone said, I hate when people use the lawsuit was dropped because it was bogus thing. Yeah, don't let anybody say that. It's not true. It's still in court as of December of last year. Someone says so many male rappers. Yeah, no, the double standard makes this like incredibly You know how I keep using the word frustrating? The double standard makes it really frustrating because it's like, I still want to call this what it is, allegations of sexual harassment not being taken seriously, but watching it not single-handedly, it's been a combination of things, but watch it tank somebody when this literally is not even going to cause like so much as a dent in other people's career just due to these double standards is absolutely, it's just ridiculous. Someone said Chris Brown. Yeah, no. He's a perfect example. Oh, by the way, Chris Brown's going to come up later and it's not going to be good. But anyways, moving on from that into the next thing. So I'm going to pull this. I guess, despite me sort of not thinking that this was a good response in any way, shape, or form, it was good enough for Lizzo because she followed all of this up with her "My Face Hurts from Smiling" mixtape. Yes, dropped in the middle of an ongoing sexual harassment lawsuit in June of last year. I'm literally being so serious right now. And she sort of took the stance, if you will, on this album, which I did listen to at the time because I thought, like, this can't be what it seems like on the surface. Basically just like, well, I'm still Lizzo. And everybody who's mad at me is mad at me for no reason. And I'm just going to have fun. And she had like... I'm literally dying talking about it. She had like a bunch of features and so much like... I don't want to use the word butthurt, but I can't really think of a more logical term. She was so mad on this album while trying to seem unbothered. I think it's probably best that we don't really dive too deeply into that. She followed it up, by the way, with some sort of deluxe/double called "My Face Still Hurts from Smiling." And that wasn't a good look. Someone said that mixtape is weird. That mixtape is beyond weird, dude. But anyways, I see I put this meme in my outline. If I had to describe how it felt to like listen to that album, it was basically like, you know that one meme of that girl where she's crying and then she's like, she sticks her tongue out. It was like this, but in album format. It wasn't a great mixtape experience for me. I won't lie. Someone said that title sounds like she's posting through the pain, literally. All right, moving on from that. All right. But the mixtape was nothing but a teaser. Finally, her album dropped just a couple of weeks ago, and the world was graced earlier this month with, I'm not going to say the name of the album, but yeah, we get the point. The 5th studio album by American singer and rapper Lizzo. And so I don't know why I did this, but I listened to it. I think maybe part of me just thought like it can't be as bad as it seems. See, what I'm getting at here is the underperformance of this album is literally like more than you could have even expected considering the lawsuit, everything. It barely sold anything. So when I found this out, ironically, this is what made me want to listen to the album because I was like, it has to at least be good music, right? Like the things that Lizzo was doing, blowing up for in 2019, this was good music, surely. Chat, I don't think it's really that great. So I would like to give you a mini review. Now, I've been thinking all day of how I'm going to like try to do this review type thing for you all. We can't listen to the album exactly because I'm gonna catch a crazy copyright claim, but there are things that I actually want to like play for you, and I feel like I can just use YouTube. Yeah, I high-key just feel like I'm just gonna play parts of this through YouTube music, and then you will sort of see what I'm getting at here. So the project clocks in at a trim 35 minutes, which actually, I swear to God, and I'm not just saying this because it's too easy of a line, still felt kind of long towards the ends there. But it opens with a track called A Toast, which I could literally only describe as like Disney villain music. Oh, hold on, I just realized I'm probably gonna have to boost the volume a little bit, but I don't want to boost it too hard. Okay. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. So yeah, I'm literally talking about like we're opening with these dramatic, you know, violins, and she starts giving like this haunting, spooky, oh, who's the real villain type thing. Skip to the end right here.
Still love you though. So here's a toast to the ones who hurt me most.
Chat. Now listen. I was just expecting music. I wasn't expecting like revenge coded, here's a toast to the ones who hurt me most, which by the way, actually kind of a good line if this was MySpace in the 2000s, but like I just think that was a terrible choice because it literally framed the entire rest of the album through this bitter lens. And I was just like, bro, she's mad. Everything she's gonna say after this, she's just mad as hell still. Anyways, let's move on from that. Okay, hold on. To Happy to Be. All right, looking at my notes for Happy to Be. Yeah. So track 2, I would say, is like a fittingly empty sounding song about happiness. It's like a funk number. It's supposedly upbeat, but I swear to God, it doesn't even sound happy. It doesn't sound bad.
Only you understand me. You fill me up completely. And when I'm self-destructive, you make me feel so pretty.
But like, I also couldn't help but think about Happy by Pharrell for some reason, and that is just problematic in and of itself. That's not Lizzo's fault. I just have heard that song one too many times. The issues that arose, I feel, with this mix of sounding a little bit empty from a production standpoint, sadly kind of were happening across the entire album. Lizzo has traditionally had like really nice arrangements in her tracks, and this was just sparse in a way that didn't feel like it was serving anything. It kind of made the tracks blend together. They were a little bit forgettable, even when they weren't terrible like the opener.
I'm smiling, nothing can stop me. Finally, I'm happy to be.
But I swear to God, it reminded me of Happy by Pharrell, and that's just, I have to move on. Okay. Don't Make Me Love You. So track 3, let me check my notes. Yeah. I think like I was almost rocking with it until we got to the bridge and the key change, and I was like, I'm tired of the 80s revival. I'm sorry. Listen, I know that 80s inspired pop music is a vibe. I know it has a certain feeling. It's fun, but I would like to just move on from this narrative, actually. Probably the bridge is right about here.
If you don't want me by the end of the night, I'm moving on with my life. Don't make me love you. Don't make
It's good. It's fine. It's okay. It's music that exists. At least between this song, which is just kind of like a Love at First Sight song, and the last song, which is just kind of like an I Feel Good song. She's not leaning into the themes of like revenge and everyone hates me. So I wasn't hating anything just yet. Someone said 80s was good, cool, make new stuff. Or I want people to flip the 80s vibe. That's what I want out of 80s music, actually. Because listen, I love me a don't. I love me a Take On Me. I love New Wave. I love the British Invasion. Not really. But. However, there is literally so much you can do within the structure of something that is recognizable as 80s inspired while still pulling in sounds from today. Give me 80s inspired drill. What the heck? I want to hear 80s music that sounds like it was created by AI but was actually made by a human. I don't know. I just want like a different take on it. A different take on me, if that makes sense. Someone said it's like take inspo from different aspects of the genre. Because I feel like low-key when people a lot of people do their 80s inspired stuff, they default to Take On Me, which is fine. Obviously, if I had to pick one defining song of the 80s pop, it probably would be that one. But there was actually so many darker textures there. Like, does anybody know what I'm talking about? Because I'm telling myself here, my dad was like a super like pop music fan in the car. That was his time to shine. So I was in there hearing all of these weirder, like darker, slower, kind of scary, like gritty, like you feel like you're in a dark alley and the Terminator is going to show up and start chasing you music. But for some reason, everybody only wants like the very outside of the genre, and it pisses me off. I won't lie. Someone said 80s had so many iconic songs though. Yeah, it really, really did. I can't just pick one. Probably one of my favorite is Voices Carry by Till Tuesday, which I think came out in the 80s. I hope. Otherwise, I am going to sound really stupid right now. I'm certainly not a music critic, okay? And someone said goth was popular in the 80s too. It really was. And it's sad because that's not my favorite genre of music. So I feel like a fake alt person. I'm like, yeah, putting on the heavy makeup and the aesthetic, I'll happily do that. But listening to the music, uh-oh. And then you get these scary goths who are like, you can't be goth unless you listen to goth music from the 80s. And that's why I never use that term or any variation of that term to describe any part of my aesthetic ever, because most of it is not goth, even though I will pull from it occasionally. Because goths can honestly scare me. they can scare me a little bit, but that's okay. I rock with them. Or I don't rock with them because I'm not listening to their music. All right, moving to the next track. Okay, great. Someone said the poser police are the real fake goths. I mean, hey, they've successfully policed me away, dog. I'm just scary for real. Gatekeeping is not goth. I don't feel like it is either, but what do I know? Anyways, moving out of my 80s dissatisfaction into the next track, which is the title track. This one's like fine. It's fire. It's cool. It's chill.
I'm a saint. I do not feel ashamed. I'm a mess. I'm a queen. And everything between you.
It's very much just giving your typical run of the mill. The world calls me a B word, but I'm actually so many of these other things, which is obviously true and a good message. Just maybe feels a little off considering the messenger at this very specific time. I would chuck this under like Katy Perry territory, where it's like, yes, broadly, it's totally a woman's world, and this is a good angle to take just when it's coming from somebody who appears to be doing things that are actually pretty bad, counterproductive for women in general, aka brushing over these allegations, supporting Chris Brown, as we're going to get to in a second. It feels off. Also, there's a line in here that kind of just summarizes how surface level this is. I'm sorry. Whoa, big zoom. Okay, there we go. She's a B. I do my own thing. I do my thing. She's a B. And she says, you mean boss? And I'm just like, Lizzo, I hope this doesn't sound crazy if I say, but like, it's not the 2010s anymore, dog. We gotta go a little bit deeper than this level of empowerment, in my opinion. That's just me. I don't really have much of a take on this beyond that. Someone said the title track isn't even original. Oh yeah, and it's mostly a cover of a song called that already exists, by the way. I forget who did the original track. Someone says it's not a complete remake. That would have been, I don't know. Hold on, I'm trying to find it right now. Before the music fans come for me and I get jumped. Let's see. I would think the original where is the original? Someone said Meredith Brooks. Thank you. My God, that was gonna take forever. Shout out Meredith Brooks. I would have thought that between the release of that original and this one, we maybe could have like zhushed it up a little, but that's okay. As Lizzo says, this song is dedicated to the women who get called a B for having boundaries, for being sexual, for speaking up for themselves, for working hard and owning businesses. If we don't smile and perform all the time, we're, quote, ungrateful. If we run a strict program, we're mean. If we enjoy sex, we're sluts and shamed. This womanifesto is... Oh, wait, she's talking. I don't want to catch a copyright claim. How long was the audio playing? I didn't even hear it. If we run a strict program, we're mean. If we enjoy sex, we're sluts and shamed. This womanifesto is a declaration of independence from the BS. It's a B summer. And I'm like, got it. All right, moving on from that track into the next. Oh man, oh man. Someone said that's what the original song is about. Yeah, literally, like, write a new one? I don't know, dog. It's okay. It doesn't matter at all. The next track would be called She Stole My Man. And, oh, I hate to say it, I hated this one.
Free time. You get it right. Have you ever loved a man that you ain't never met? Last night I had a dream I was invited to the Met. And he...
It's like this weird sort of rock number. And... you know, in any other context, if you told me Lizzo was doing her take on rock music, I think I would have been excited, but then I heard it and I just went back to sleep.
Okay, so maybe I'm still under it. I'm so not me, not me. She stole my man. I hate that bitch forever.
Also, these lyrics, dog. She stole my man. I hate that be forever. I'm like... it is giving middle school. I can't lie. Okay, I could lie, but I choose not to. It's more fun to be messy. Someone said these all sound like other songs already made. They literally do. Moving on to the next track. Wait, oops, I accidentally closed the player. Chad, I'm trying to save myself. I'm literally trying to save myself. Volume. I forgot where I had the volume. Was it 300? Hold on, chat. I'm trying to fix
You get it right. Katie, I'm fucking gross. I bet she loves you.
Okay, whatever, close enough. Moving on. Whose hair is this?
Whose hair is this?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I actually like this track. Listen, I'm not gonna sit here in front. I am just a sucker for a good soulful R&B ballad, and frankly, that's exactly what this is, especially when it has some storytelling elements. And, you know, despite all of the nonsense, the mess, and the things she should be criticized for, Lizzo can still sing the hell out of an R&B ballad, okay?
So I'ma pack up my purse.
But like, I don't want to listen to it because it's Lizzo. And that's a sad problem that I run into with a lot of people's music, where I'm just like, oh, you're so talented. Good for you. Closes the door. Someone said bald guy liking the one about hair. Oh, wait. Maybe that's what it is, actually. It might not even be the song itself, but it's just kind of like a wish fulfillment thing of like, man, I wish somebody would ask me about the hair in my bed, but there never is any. Not anymore. You know what's crazy? You know what's crazy? Like high-key crazy about this? I'm gonna write a story. This is giving me story idea. Where like, I mean, it's going to sound like a self-insert, so I need to make sure I grow my hair out first. But it's going to be about a couple. This is going to be an A24 movie, not A24 because we don't rock with them no more. And like, she discovers someone's hair in the bed. And the guy realizes that she's discovered this. And he tries to play it off as like, oh, this is my hair. I feel like low-key, you could unspool that into a story. I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna take that one. It's something that I myself could never get away with. Someone says I somehow forget you're bald. I don't know. Do I not have bald energy? I try to. Someone said hair 24. Someone says she's Katie if Katie was generally on a baseline more talented but had worse eyes. Someone said WTF did A24 do? Oh, I talked about it in a video a little while ago, but they have a $75 million partnership with Google's DeepMind, in which they're doing AI they're doing research into developing AI filmmaking tools, which they then turned around and doubled down on, and we're like, we don't love AI, generative AI either, but we want a seat at the table, so that's why we're doing this. Someone said, I see it. See, you see the vision. You can take this. Whose hair is this? Actually, it's my hair, babe. I promise. Story for summer for sure. If you were actually talented at writing, which I'm not. Someone said bald energy is usually a negative thing. I'm trying to turn it into a positive thing. I want it to be positive. We need to have our bald icons. It's me and who else? I don't even know. Don't answer that. There's too many like Joe Rogans in this world and other people who are just messing this up for bald people everywhere. Someone said Cynthia Erivo. Yes, more Cynthia Erivo, less Joe Rogan. You feel me? That's what I'm trying to bring to this this earth. Someone's asking whose hair is this in my Beyonce voice. You think your husband's cheating, but he's just balding. That would be a funny story. All right, anyways, moving on from whose hair is this. We've got the next track, which would be Little Black Cats. And I'm not going to lie, something happened to where I think because my brain heard one good song that I actually liked, I just like stopped listening. I was trying to listen to the rest of it, but by the time we got to the end, we were 20 minutes in, and I was just like, this album is starting to feel long. It's starting to feel samey. I think I heard it 4 other times.
I wanna believe the universe has to know when you're coming back.
Like, it's just okay. It's just fine. Anyways, moving on from that, which was sort of like a song about being superstitious or whatever, we get to Sexy Ladies, and that is where we start getting into territory of like, uh-oh, guys, I think she's responding to the allegations. Moving on to Sexy Ladies. Okay, let's see.
But we
So the majority of the track is just kind of like this upbeat sort of banger energy vibe.
really is the echinacea. Hey, you the shit, girl. Don't let nobody try and change you. Love.
Same story, different day, but right around the bridge area, we get this incredibly odd interlude. Hold on. Wait. Actually, I'm not even going to be able to find this, so I'm just going to control F. Let's see. Lizzo, Sexy Ladies. Such a funny thing to Google. Genius. Someone said, why is it giving 143 by Katy Perry? This album reminds me a lot of 143 by Katy Perry, in which it's a competent project made by a talented person amidst multiple scandals, and yet it's not saying anything interesting, meaningful, or even really offering anything fresh. I'm bothered. Oh, sorry. It's the end of verse 2, actually, where she says, why would I ever cry, baby? I've been there. My Venus and Gemini, queen of the unbothered. Oh, how I sleep at night. And my satin Gaultier, I think is how you say that. And between this song and the next song, I would say this is the closest thing that we get to a look into Lizzo's headspace. So she's unbothered now, guys. She's been sad. She's been mad. And now she just kind of doesn't care anymore because she knows that she is unproblematic. Let's see. Moving on to the next track, which would be That Girl. All right. So Lizzo being that girl gives us again, we have another upbeat one. This will be one of those body positivity bangers.
That's why you are a woman.
But in the middle of singing a song about how like other people should, I don't know, be proud of themselves, you have to take a moment to have this weird like audio play in the middle, which says,
That's why you are.
here we go. if you didn't catch that, they came after Lizzo, and she's unproblematic. She says in the song, and they don't give an F. You can be fat. You can be a woman. I'm cleaning that up a little bit, but you can't be a fat black woman. Which, first of all, like on some level, yes, misogynoir and fat phobia have played an inextricably insidious part in the way all of this has played out and been talked about, and even, yes, in Lizzo's declining popularity due to a scandal that really never would have moved the needle on many other people's careers. However, I just think asserting that this is actually why people are coming for you simply isn't true, and she's just not even remotely unproblematic. Somebody says it Cat Williams. Is that Cat Williams? So she pulled that from a Cat Williams speech. Let's see. Or not Cat Williams speech, but like Cat Williams stand-up. If so, I can include that because that's like extra. Wait, what is the song called? That Girl. With 3 R's. Why is it not coming up? How many songs called That Girl are there? Okay, there we go. It doesn't say it's Cat Williams. It might be though. I don't know. I'm gonna look that one up. If it is, that just makes it even funnier. But anyways, like, Chad, I can't stress this enough. Even beyond the allegations, Lizzo is problematic objectively. Let's see. I'm gonna pull. Over the years, there's been multiple things here and there, but for sure, the most egregious has to be Lizzo is facing criticism. This would be 2021 after calling Chris Brown her quote favorite person and asking the singer for a photo. This was not taken out of context. This isn't missing anything. Pulling this, that, the other 300 is probably good enough. This has followed her around for a while at this point, and I don't really think she's offered anything that would make it better. In fact, as part of the promo for the album we're listening to right now, she posted this incredibly weird video in which she captioned it, "I can't believe Chris Brown said this." And she took a video where Chris Brown was saying like weird things about Zara Larsson and redid it like this.
I don't want you to listen to my shit.
Wait, hold on. I'm going to pull this up here.
If you're not my fan, I don't want you to listen to my shit. Go listen to motherfucker.
Pre-order Lizzo's new album, Bitch, coming out June 5th or something.
Fuck them.
Using Chris Brown to promote your album in the year of our Lord 2026 while simultaneously saying I'm unproblematic and people came for me for no reason, I simply must move on. Or I'm just I can't, dog. Someone said that guy needed to retire at 17. Chris Brown is literally such a menace. Like, I think the thing about him is like he's been so violent for so long to so many people. It's insane. Someone said Chris Brown is a colorist, abusive, and not as good a performer and live singer as people make him out to be. People act like he's Michael Jackson too, and they need to stop. They need to stop. People act like Chris Brown is Michael Jackson too, and I'm over it. Because that is performative. Okay? I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Chris Brown obviously can sing and dance. Yes, that's why he was popular, or is popular, unfortunately. And yet, the way people quite literally act like he is somehow a spiritual successor to the people who are considered to be, despite also still being problematic, terrible people, the greatest performers of all time, y'all are being performative as hell. Y'all do not think that this man is that good, because he's literally not. He's just good. There's a big difference there. But yeah, you would be literally surprised at the, like, if you're not running in R&B fan spaces, you might not have run into this, but I'm telling you that Chris Brown is Michael Jackson part 2 is not something I'm making up. This literally is an attitude. It's an attitude that pops up a lot, and it just pisses me off. It's so stupid. Anyways, someone said embarrassing. Yeah, no, it's beyond embarrassing, but that's not important at all because I'm not here to support Chris Brown or Michael Jackson. All right. So there's only 3 tracks left on the album, which even though I've literally played mere seconds from it here in an attempt to not get hit with copyright, I find myself tiring of already. So I'll just go ahead and make my complaints pretty clear. Let's see. That girl. On the next track, which is called Too Nice, I am sad because it is the only track on the album, unless I missed something, where you get a flute performance, and it's just stuck at the end of a half-baked, barely 2-minute banger. What happened to the flute? I listen again, like, I'm not listening to this album ever again after today, but come on, Lizzo, something for your flute fans. And then the next album, Like a Crime, I was like, okay, wow, I thought that Too Nice sounded unfinished. This one literally just sounds like an acoustic demo, and I'm not gonna lie, almost like she didn't even have the lyrics for this finished. Let me put the volume back up. I just realized I forgot to turn it back. Someone said the flute 8. She's a talented flutist. You can't lie. I mean, you can if you want. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like she's good. So it's this weird, I almost want to say Latin-inspired guitar ballad.
So strange and publicly, you are my everything.
Not weird because it's Latin inspired, just because it sounds terrible, kind of. And this might be one of the few times that I've actually found Lizzo's voice to be grating, which is not something I thought I would say about her. And then you get to the bridge, and I'm like, dog, as much as I love me, like a non sort of, as much as I like it when people just start making vocalizations instead of singing words, you genuinely ran out of lyrics for this one. Sure, Lizzo. But anyways, I nod my way onto the final track, Good Morning. And at this point, I think I had finally settled on an emotion, because this album was mostly just making me feel nothing. But by the time I got to the final track, I was just kind of sad. I'm not gonna lie. Like, this is another one that's supposed to be positive. It's supposed to be uplifting. But I swear to God, something about it just sounds kind of tortured and empty in a way that is deeply unsettling to me. Or maybe I'm just being dramatic.
Life didn't end when you was tripping. I'm the proof. You got a purpose, yeah, you got something to do. Okay, now hop up in the whip and let's go.
I don't know, man. It just wasn't a very good album. And that certainly has to play a part into why it was the lowest performing album. I almost want to say I've seen all year. Like, surely people have undersold this, but nobody who was as popular as Lizzo. Someone said, is that Apata? It kind of sounds like it. Pulling the performance. So, we have another archive article that doesn't want to work. No. Okay, hold on. I will find it. Lizzo Rolling Stone album performance. I don't know why, like, my albums are literally disappearing today. Here we go. Lizzo's new album didn't even chart. What happened? Yeah. So she didn't debut at number 2 instead of 1. This wasn't like, oh man, she was all the way at the bottom. No, her album sold 2,650 copies in its first week. I don't think it's possible for me to overstate how low of a number this is for somebody of Lizzo's caliber. I think small artists routinely can sell more than 2,600 copies of an album. This almost implies that almost nobody listened to this outside of Lizzo's core fan base, which unfortunately appears to be not that many people at all. So I was shocked. It doesn't take much to shock me. If you told me she debuted at, I don't know, number 199 on the Billboard 200, I would have been surprised, but she didn't even touch the chart, actually. Oh, man. Oh, I'm getting paywalled because the unarchived version of it is not loading. Okay, hold on. Someone says, stop. She's already dead. It's so bad. Listen, this is crazy to me. Okay. B arrived June 5th via Atlantic Records. Within its first week, the album sold 2.6 thousand. I was about to say million. 2.6 thousand copies and racked up just under 2.7 million on-demand streams. I've outperformed this album before. I'm just a commentary YouTuber who has made a lot of free videos over the years, and I've gotten more than 2.7 million streams in a week on a couple of those. So I'm dead, because like even in the grand scheme of YouTube, that's really not that much at all. It was a lot for me and I was really grateful, but that's because I was just some guy, not one of the most widely known and widely talked about pop stars. So anyways, in its second week, sales dropped to 600 units, streams dipped to just under a million. Oh no. What? Why is this hard to read? Anyways, that's down from 39,000 copies from Special, which got in enough for a number 2 debut on the Billboard. Yeah, the Billboard 200. Chat, I'm just kind of... Oh, someone in chat says she went triple cardboard. Now, come on now. Anyways, obviously, when you're dealing with that, which would be a surprise to anybody, it is going to raise the question of how did this happen? Literally, how could this be possible? And Lizzo has an answer for all of us, actually. And you're never going to guess what it is. Is it the scandal? Somewhat, but not really. I can actually answer this, Lizzo says on Twitter, responding to somebody who asked the same thing I was wondering. Lizzo not having a fan base is so weird when she was literally selling out arenas 2 years ago. Where did those people go? Lizzo says, the industry changed so much in the last 3 years because streaming replaced radio and I was a radio darling. Okay. That's how my fans discovered my music. Not to mention the very obvious and public attack on my career changed things. But I'm out here doing my absolute best and you can't knock me for that. And I'm like, Lizzo, she got me feeling like Dakota Johnson talking to Ellen DeGeneres. That's not true, Lizzo. It is absolutely and obviously a thing that, yes, streaming is more important than radio at this point, and I actually kind of think that's a good thing because it is a little bit more indicative of what people do when given the choice to listen to the music they want to. And yet, if you're literally trying to convince me that this happened specifically within the last 3 years, I would have to disagree with that so hard. Just as a casual consumer of music, as a chart watcher, Lizzo, that's not why this album performed the way it didn't. So this is wild to me. Someone said she was big on streaming too. Thank you. It is also just it feels a little bit disingenuous to me because yeah, Lizzo was killing it on the radio, but she was also big on streaming. Come on. Her stuff was popping on TikTok all the time. I remember this very vividly. Those people leaving, disappearing, dissipating, part of this is a function of I don't think her music has grown with the times. I feel like that is mostly the biggest issue. Yes, obviously, a lot of people made the choice not to support her after the lawsuit and the way that she handled it, and that didn't help either. But like, you are quite literally making the same music with the same sounds and the same themes that you have been since you blew up in 2019. Music doesn't really sound the way this album sounds, or at least not the things on the chart. And I don't think you should just make what's on the charts, but if you want to chart, you probably should. Someone said About Damn Time had a whole dance. Yeah, so I can't accept this answer, and I don't know, man. I can't accept that one. Anyways, moving on to this. She talked about this. She talked about this a little bit more in this podcast appearance with the Swiftologist, and let's unpack this a bit. I'm probably gonna have to fix the audio.
Like a real.
Hold on. Volume's gonna be up.
Answer, not like a PR line.
I think right now, dropping the album, I took it to heart really, really heavily. So this is the non-PR. I hurt my own feelings, and I was really stressed and I was really sad for a few days because I just was like, wait a minute, this is like some of my best stuff. I had to come to terms with the fact that not only is the music industry different in the last 3 years, and we need to talk about that. We need to talk about the radio aspect that I got my chewed out for, but it's happening and it's true. But
This is not her best work, and I feel like calling this album, which is serviceable at best, her best work is such a disrespectful thing to her own best work. Lizzo, you have to know that your other songs go harder than the stuff that's on this new one. And she's still not right about the radio thing, in my opinion. Maybe there's somebody who knows more than me and is like, actually, D'Angelo Lizzo is exactly correct. You're uninformed, but I will believe it when I see it.
But also, my relationship and my connection musically with the world is different. And I think I had to kind of mourn that.
And it must be really jarring to go from record of the year, this like insane arena tour, to all of a sudden having to really scrap for
Yes.
people to give you a minute. From the outside, I think for everybody, it looks like you went from an artist that a label would move heaven and earth for, right? Like they would give you all these campaigns as much as you want, basically for whatever you want to do. And now we're hearing you on socials being like, my label isn't promoting my album.
I kind of like took control a little bit and was like, yo, what's going on? Like, I used to announce that my album was coming and I would have the pre-saves and I would have
Done.
pre-orders. And then my label, they updated me, and this was like 3 weeks before the album dropped. And I was like, okay, what we looking at? What's the pre-save? And they gave me the number and I said, what's the goal? And they were like, da da da. And I was like, all right. And then I was like, let me go full force. And I went.
So as Lizzo proceeds to tell it in this interview, she tried to promote the album. She was letting people know about it. She was putting posters up, etc. And because she met the pre-save target that her label set out for her, she thought the album was going to do better than it was. Let's see.
So again, and then I had all of these high hopes, I think, for what we would do the first week, and it didn't match. I was so excited because I met my pre-save goal and I met all of that, and then it dropped and I was like, oh, okay, this isn't what I kind of thought it would be. I didn't think it would be crazy, but I also didn't think it would be this. And I think that there was like 24 hours of my life where I based my success and my worth on a number.
So basically, she was sad about it, and then, I don't know, she said SZA called her and was like, hey, and then Lizzo was like, hey, and now she's just kind of more neutral, I suppose, because it's still her best work, and the end. And that's about that's about it. If you want an update on the lawsuit, actually, this one's fairly recent. It's from May of this year. Lizzo refuses to settle backup dancer's sexual harassment lawsuit. I'm not afraid of the truth, she says. Excuse me. I'm not afraid of the truth, she says. So basically, yeah, that's just going to happen for as long as it does, I guess. And I don't know. In my attempt to like research all of this and get to the bottom of it and just kind of gauge public sentiment on Lizzo and where she is, I found this comment on Reddit from a year ago. And I was kind of like, dang, bro. Incredibly talented, highly disciplined, temperamental, exacting, abusive, arrogant, disengaged from the general public, and largely irrelevant to wider culture. Lizzo has returned to her roots, her flute playing roots. She is a classical musician. And I was like, for as much as I tried to say like witty or surgically incisive things at the end of my videos, I don't think I've ever gone that hard before. But anyways, I just had to share that because I'm like, dang, I kind of wish I had said that. That's all we got. That's all we've got. So it sounds like Lizzo has learned nothing, I suppose, from anything that has happened, or that multiple thousands and thousands of people have been trying to tell her for the past couple of years, and still continues to blame the radio, blame the attacks on her career, which, yes, absolutely do exist and have affected her, but are not the sole reason why even her core fan base doesn't want to stick up for her. In conclusion, I kind of want to say this. Like, Can you feel me buffering? Can you feel me buffering? Truthfully, people online are horrifically racist and misogynist and fatphobic towards Lizzo. They always have been, back when there was not even a single reason to criticize anything she had ever shown us. And unfortunately, a lot of people have used the revelation of bad behavior on her part as an excuse to justify their hatred, which is never how we should be treating serious issues like allegations of sexual harassment or the mishandling thereof, or associations with problematic people. It is just also true that Lizzo has been supported by a lot of the same people who are marginalized by the same things affecting her. And it's a lot of those people who have stepped back and have decided not to support her. It's not all just the racism of it. There are a lot of people who are like, actually, Lizzo's image kind of meant a lot to me, and because it still does, I don't support the things she's doing after this. I encountered that a lot. I kind of feel similarly. Just, I don't really want to listen to her anymore, even though I myself found a lot of her stuff to be pretty empowering and amazing. So I guess I would still like to acknowledge, anytime Lizzo has said like, oh, the world is being racist, she's not crazy. Anytime she is like, well, my career got affected to this scale and misogyny and fatphobia played a part in it, they did, for sure. It's just, that's not why almost nobody supports her anymore. And I hope that makes sense, because I don't want to play into any of the hatred, but I also don't want to excuse anything she's done that is worth criticizing. Okay, that was great. I think I actually clearly said what I wanted to say without sounding like a doofus. Is there anything else that y'all want me to bring up while I'm here, though, before I record an outro? Someone says she alienated a lot of her fans. She absolutely did. I was there. Also, I just realized there's like little emojis. Were y'all clicking a heart button? This is my first. Oh, there's one right there. I never realized that there's like little emojis that show up on my screen. You guys can't see them. But I guess when someone did like 100 emoji. God, I gotta like not look at that. That's so alluring. I feel like a cat looking at a laser right now. I feel like a cat looking at a laser. Someone said, I love hearing your perspectives on things. Thank you for listening. Someone said, two things can be true at the same time. Being an overweight Black woman can be must be unimaginably difficult, but she still just treated people terribly. That appears to be true. I would agree with you. Reading chat. Someone said, have you never noticed that? I think it's been there the entire time, and I've been trying to have tunnel vision and just focus on the text by itself. Someone said you can see them. You guys can see them? Oh, wow. Okay, so if you don't follow my live chat as it exists on the surface of YouTube, or you may not see it, but I guess if you're on the same place where people are sending those, you can see the little emojis. Like, it's not on my screen right now, but that's so fun. Reading chat. Someone said more album reviews for me too, please. If I can pick an album that has more for me to actually dissect, that would low-key be a pretty good segment. Because I love talking about music, bro. I really do. Someone said it's so much fun spamming them. You feel free to spam the hell out of the button, because I don't mind at all. I really don't. Someone said I would like to hear more about your hair. We can talk about my hair after this, sure, happily. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and record an outro, and we gonna be good. Everybody say goodbye. Say bye. Don't forget your rainbow emojis. It is the last day of Pride Month. You have to make this the most rainbow colored emojified goodbye you have ever typed in a YouTube live chat. It better just be a wall of color over here. All right. Anyways, let me drink some water. Anyway, that's about all I have to say about Lizzo and her new album. I'm going to try never to think about that again, and hopefully you never have to either. But yeah, I actually recorded this live right here on YouTube, where I stream quite frequently. Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 12 p.m. Eastern time. Unless, of course, I don't, in which case I'm probably just, I don't know, sleeping. But yeah, hopefully I see you in the next stream or the next video, and if not, it doesn't matter at all. Okay, bye. We killed it. We killed it. Stop recording. Okay, good. Let's go. We're done. Someone said, I always appreciate your nuance and taking the necessary time to speak all sides. Thank you. I definitely don't get it perfect every time, but I always make an attempt, and I think it just makes for better content, honestly. I really, really do. Yeah, no, I'm psyched with that one, because it's just such a strange story to me. Like, I literally feel like if she had just taken a little bit of accountability, people would be more willing. Not the general public, obviously, because they're terrible, but at least her core fan base would have been a little bit more willing to hear her out. But anyways, thanks for the rainbows. That's it. No more. We've got them. We have said goodbye. I stopped recording. All right. Well, I'm going to show for a second. Somebody had asked me about my hair. Have I ever told y'all exactly like my shaving journey? Because it wasn't easy. I like a pretty close shave for the most part. I like it like that. But the scary thing about shaving your head, especially while black, there's some things that you can be more susceptible to, is ingrown hairs. Okay, first of all, everybody can be susceptible to ingrown hairs. I'm sure we've all had them, but it is true actually that like you, just as a person with like afro texture hair, can be much more susceptible to them, and I am. So something when I first started shaving my head in the middle of last year, I ran into a lot was ingrown hair hell. I was using I don't remember what I was using. I think it was some form of electric razor, and I didn't exactly know like about the grains of my head or which way I was supposed to be going. And so in the back, I would get these horribly like inflamed, painful, terrible, like ingrown hairs all along my neck, and it felt so uncomfortable. I'm literally talking about burning, and I would have to like maybe I shouldn't do this, but I literally had to use like a needle, like a little pin, and like fish out the hairs out of my neck. And so at one point I was like, ha 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 ha, I don't think that's how this is supposed to feel. So I started researching into how the helly do I shave my dome without running into these ingrown hair problems. And I found out there's a bunch of answers. For me, what works for me personally is always with the grain. Well, I have two ways of doing it. The way to get the closest shave that works for me is to use a double-edged safety razor. And that is exactly what it sounds like. And then go with the grain across the entire head, never shaving cross grain. If I go like this instead of like this, I can count on a streak of ingrown hairs right there. I always have to go with it across the entire head very carefully. And then I use like an aftershave product. I don't want to promo them because it might not work for you. But the one that works for me is like Bump Patrol. After the fact, I rub that in and I pretty much never have ingrown hairs. If I ever do, it's because I went against the grain without thinking about it. I have a second method, I won't lie, for avoiding ingrown hairs, which is the one I usually use because it can take a little while to go over your entire head with a safety razor. I just honestly, I take some hair clippers and I set the joint to 0. I literally just set 0 and I just go against the grain as hell. And it gets pretty much this low, which is fine. Because I still look bald. That's all that matters. Here, let me show you like an actual like nothing. Like if I shave my head down to nothing, Smosh D'Angelo Wallace. Oh my gosh, it's me. Yeah. So this was me on Smosh, and I made sure to shave my head to like a 0 basically. Or this would be me on Smosh if it wanted to play, but it doesn't. So now I just sound stupid as hell. Okay, well, this is rude. Come on, guys. This is the closest shave I've had all year, and it doesn't even want to play. Why is it like totally bugging on me right now? YouTube, what? Can I watch like anything? Well, I don't know. Wait, I just realized I have my whole thing. Oh, here we go. Okay, that's not me. Where am I? There, look at that. Behold. It's beautiful. This is the holy grail of shaving for me. This is as low as I'm usually going to get. It's so smooth. It almost gets a little bit shiny, but not like super shiny because I'm not into like a crazy shiny look. And I did that. This was the day after I had done like my full double-edged safety razor shave. So yeah, if I'm going to events or I'm going somewhere where I actually have to like pop out or people are going to take lasting photos of me or whatever, then yes, I will do the closest shave imaginable. But for my daily shaves, well, I don't shave every day, but just for my usual wear, I'll just stick with an electric hair trimmer. I'll just shave it off and it's close enough. He still looks bald. And someday, there won't be anything left to shave. Every now and then, I get mildly jealous of somebody who will have a much closer shave than I do. And I'm like, it's usually a guy. I'm like, how did he do that? And then I maybe see a little closer and I'm just like, oh, that's male pattern baldness. So someday the ultimate shave, it's going to come for me whether I want it to or not. And I won't have to worry about which settings or which tools I'm using because I will be as bald as humanly possible. So let's go. Someone said you have a good enough shape though. I'm shaped like an egg. I do love my head shape. I won't lie because I feel like, I don't know if this makes sense, but I feel like it looks African as hell. That's how I feel about my head shape. Like I be catching glimpses of my profiles and stuff and I'm just like, I look so African right now in a way that is unmatched, but also like on God, I'm sorry. That's an African head shape, but it don't matter. It don't matter what you rocking. Shave your head anyway, if you want to. Don't let head shape stop you, because you can have a beautiful, any kind of head, whether that's egg shaped or otherwise. Someone said, I pray you get male pattern baldness, and I thank you. The sooner the better. No, just kidding. I don't want to go bald in my 20s. I would like to at least get out of my 30s or out of my 20s before this happens, but I'm not going to complain too hard. Not going to complain too hard. Someone said embracing the heritage. No, on God. Like, I just feel so connected when I think about why his head shaped like that. Someone said you have legs. I have legs, and I'm so mad that, like, I thought if I wore long enough shorts that this band-aid wouldn't be visible, but it was there the entire time, even though nobody saw it because it's almost skin colored. Because mere days before I went to Smosh, or I went to LA to record this, I fell while running twice. And actually, it was a lot uglier than this. I have more band-aids up here, and I have one up here too, and they were mostly covered. Plus, I had messed up my hand, and I think I had band-aids there too. But yeah, that was a rough run, and the timing of that was pretty bad. And I messed up one of my tattoos, which is the only time I've ever messed up any of my tattoos. But thankfully, it healed pretty fine. It looks okay now. But yeah, that I had to make myself not be angry about that because I was getting so mad. Someone said, D'Angelo, what's your ethnicity? Black. That's all I've got. I'm a Black American. Yeah, I mean, American's not an ethnicity. That's a nationality. But you know what I mean, obviously. I am black mixed with probably some other kind of black. Someone said I just came to the stream. What did I miss? An entire segment about Lizzo, but that's okay because we're going to cut it into a video and then I'll put it up for you tomorrow. Yes, indeed. Someone said tattoo tour win. Soon, not soon because I have to finish this like torso project I'm working on, but since the last time I showed them off I have acquired quite a few more, so yeah, excited about that. And someone said my brother's already balding at 25. Low key though, low key, I know this might be easy for me to say as somebody with a full head of hair if he so chose. I feel like we should normalize balding a little bit more though, because people will get like incredibly insecure about like balding naturally, and it makes me really, really sad because balding is something that you have no control over whatsoever. It's not something you've done, and it's not something that you should be treated as less than for, even though unfortunately it does happen. I guess I just kind of wish people wouldn't make fun of balding because it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean old, not that that's something you should be made fun of. It doesn't mean creepy. It doesn't mean any of these things. It literally just means somebody's body has changed in a way that happens naturally to almost everyone. And like it can literally happen to you in your adolescence. I've known people who have started balding while they're still teenagers, and the idea of having like this lifelong sad relationship with something that you can't control just really pisses me off. The idea of that, yeah, I don't know. Society will never be nice about that one, but that's okay. There's other issues, I'm sure, too. There's other things that we could maybe fix before that, I guess. But if we could add that to the list somewhere as an addendum, like, oh, can we also stop demonizing balding naturally? Because it's not that big of a deal. Someone said I started balding at 17. Yeah, no, it can happen to anybody. I feel like the only thing that is literally a bad look is like doing things that may not be flattering for you, but like low key, you can still have flattering anything while balding. You don't have to like completely shave your hair off if you don't want to, even though I think it's, well, I'm biased. Even though I think it's a great look. But yeah, no, I think like we have associations of people like desperately, quote unquote, trying to quote unquote hold on to. And I'm just like, I don't know why that's so bad anyway, though. I have like such, or I try to maintain such like a leave people the hell alone with their bodies approach to everything, and it can manifest in very intense important ways, obviously, like when it comes to human rights for various groups of people. Leave people in their bodies alone. Just help them be safe and give them the access they need to achieve that. But like it also manifests in a bunch of smaller ways, like, hey, just it doesn't matter what somebody's hair looks like. It doesn't It's not that big of a deal. I don't know. Whatever, dog. Someone said the toupees are getting pretty good. Yeah, that being said, though, if you are balding and you don't like that look for you and you want more hair, nobody even has to know anymore. Those hair systems be looking crazy as hell. Listen, it's not even that you just need to go get a hair transplant. You can do that if you want to, but I'm telling you right now, those hair systems are invisible. You have people in your life right now who have hair systems every single day, and you don't even know, honestly, because they're not going to tell you. They've realized the cheat code, which is the technology. Is this technology? Has gotten to a point where they are not clockable at all. So I will also say, like, obviously this costs money. It's not freely available to everybody, but if you want more hair, you can acquire that joint. You really, really can. And you should. I'm a big proponent of doing whatever it is you want. Because when I say, like, leave people who are balding alone about things that happen naturally, I'm also not saying you have to be happy with yourself, though. If you think you will be happy with hair, go get it. Go get it. I will support you for real. I really, really will. Someone said yes, we are going to Turkey to get those follicle transplants. Oh my gosh. Someone said hair tech is pretty wild. It really is, though. Someone said Drake. I fear Drake may have done a little something. And you know what? Go for it. It's really, it is what it is. I feel like we should just normalize all of it. And someone said the cheat code is being born lucky. Yeah, the ultimate cheat code, I guess, is if your hair just never recedes meaningfully in any way before you're young or thins. But that's just going to be so few people. That's just not going to be the average person at all. Reading chat. Someone said hair hats, wigs are the ish, but being bald in the summer is so cooling. Wigs in the winter, instant hair, hat warmth. Bro, I love being bald in the summer. It's so nice. And it's getting hotter again, and I'm already doubly appreciating my lack of hair. I feel it. I really, really do. Someone said it's it's a form of gender affirming care. So many things are forms of gender affirming care, which are fine when cis people do them. But God forbid. Anyways, don't get me started. Don't get me started. Someone said, can we turn bald energy into a compliment instead of a roast? Instead of demanding that the world sees baldness as a cool thing to aspire to, I have simply decided to be a cool bald person to aspire to. Not that you should aspire to be like me, because I really don't think you should. But I'm just going to try to be a cool dude while bald and show up to a bunch of spaces and be like, oh, there he is with his bald head, but he's a pretty cool dude. And then when you think baldy, you can think of me and other cool people. That's my goal. I can't change the world, but I can change myself and be the change you want to see. So there we go. Someone said I'm a woman with the receding hairline. It literally can happen to anybody, and that's why I feel like we should stop like making fun of this. It's just a fact of who you are. Now, again, if you want to switch it up, you should. That would be fire. But like, if you don't, also, nobody should be like doing or saying anything about this. If we lived in a perfect world, which we don't, unfortunately. Okay, chat. I can get. Why did I just like slick back my non-existent hair? Did I talk about hair so much that for a second I thought I still had my locks? Anyways, listen, I'm gonna give you a preview. I usually don't share my upcoming videos for this channel. I just prepare the outlines and I show up and I'm like, today we're talking about Lizzo, and everybody's like, Lizzo? But I actually would like to tell you a little bit about my upcoming video, which I think might be the next one, because this is a fairly straightforward outline. I'm going to talk about Northwest. It's gotten weird. Excuse me. For those of you who don't know, I'm referring to the 13-year-old child of Kim Kardashian and Kanye West. The thing is, like, I've mostly just been ignoring her because I feel like that is a normal thing to do when it comes to a 13-year-old on the internet. Me, as a grown man, I think the most normal take on Northwest is like, that's a child, so who cares? Not me. But I actually literally have so much smoke for her parents at this point. I literally have so much smoke for the weirdos that are literally surrounding this girl, showing up to like try to get pictures with her. Literally, it got called out recently by the rapper Skepta of like just these weird dudes. We literally have grown men trying to do like meet and greets with Kanye West's daughter, and I'm like, y'all are so, this is literally warped. And then also just like a bunch of stuff about like, why do we think it's a great idea for the kid to be in all of these environments unaccompanied? And I also just don't really love the way that people talk about her appearance either, because there's a lot of like, oh my gosh, look at the hair, and I'm just like, we shouldn't even have a 13-year-old in the public consciousness for you to even have discourse about. That's going to be my take in my upcoming stream. It's not going to be like, oh my gosh, Northwest got new hand piercings, even though as somebody into body mods, I do have something to say about that. But it's more so going to be like, hey, don't you think it's incredibly odd for us to even be thinking about this? Because this isn't something that any of us should know. And I know, obviously, that it is hypocritical and not possible for me to make a video because I am drawing attention to the thing that I'm saying we should stop talking about. But I don't care anymore. I just want some semblance of normalcy. And I'm not going to put this girl in the thumbnail. I might put her name in the title, but like, I'm probably just going to put her parents in the thumbnail. Like, it's literally not about her. And it shouldn't be. You should just be ignoring these people. It's like, y'all be like, oh my gosh, child stars, wow, they get so messed up. And then you're sitting here playing into the live messing up of a child star. And it is just jarring to me. It's very baffling. It's very strange. The only thing I have to say about getting hand piercings, this doesn't apply to her specifically, but just to anybody, these are surface piercings and they are going to reject. So I just hope everyone knows that. I'm probably going to say that in my video of like, hey, as somebody who's like mildly into piercings, you probably should know before you pierce your hands, surface piercings are absolutely notorious for rejecting. So they may scar. But yeah, no, I just get the ick. I get the ick. I don't want to sit around and have discourse over the fashion choices of a child, a little girl, because I thought that was weirdo behavior. I don't know. I don't know, dog. What do I know? Someone said put her mom in the thumbnail. Yeah, okay. This is kind of unfair, chat. And usually I don't like when YouTubers make excuses and they're like, oh my gosh, I have to frame my video this way because I need views. But low key, I usually only do a 2-person setup for my thumbnails because it's just cleaner, even though my thumbnails are messy on purpose. I feel like I'm probably going to put Kim K there instead of Kanye West, while acknowledging in the video it takes 2 to tango, and it is absolutely, she's both of their responsibility. This isn't just like a singular, like, Kim Kardashian is the worst person ever. Both of these people are the worst person ever for allowing their child to do all of these things in a public manner. But yeah, Kim K makes for a better thumbnail. I didn't say this, and I shouldn't say this. Don't tell anybody that I'm saying this, because this is actually so shallow and it's not good. But one of my recent videos I made about Donald Trump's 80th birthday party, I'm trying to pull up my OneDrive. I had this thought as I was editing the thumbnail, and I was like, bro, this is very problematic thinking, but I had to put Michelle Obama in the thumbnail because everybody else in the video, all the weird dudes that were being racist about her, they were just too ugly. It wasn't a good thumbnail. I was literally trying this with other thumbnails, other people. I was like, okay, well, the guy who said this about her, Josh Holcomb or whatever his name is, we'll try a thumbnail with him. And I'm just like, oh, I wouldn't click into that. And I was like, oh, it's Donald J. Trump, we'll put him in the thumbnail. And I was like, oh, I don't want to see that. Nobody wants to see that. Dana White, I couldn't put in the thumbnail. Joe Rogan was there, I didn't want to put him in the thumbnail. And I was like, I'm sorry, Mrs. Obama, you're the only person that is visually appealing in the scenario. So because it was a conversation about her, I put her in the thumbnail so people would actually click into it, because I feel like everyone else was literally going to scare viewers away. But don't tell anyone I said that. I felt so bad because I'm like, that's not good for me to admit, but it is true. I'm sorry. And if you ask me at the end of the day, you can become ugly due to your own actions. And I believe Trump, Dana White, Joe Rogan all fall into this category. I've also seen people say, which I agree with on some level, like, don't equate morality with physical attractiveness. And I agree with that. But when I say ugly, I am usually talking about not physical attractiveness. I feel like you could look like Donald J. Trump. You could be a dupe of him, but just by virtue of not being Trump, I wouldn't be thinking you're ugly. It's literally like, it's an ick that radiates through the visual. It doesn't have to do with the structure itself. But yeah, I would like to draw that distinction. I guess you could be ugly, even though I don't really think, like, nobody's like ugly per se, just naturally. But like, you could be that and a good person. They're not the same thing. But I literally, these people look off because they are off. Something is just really wrong there. And maybe it's just because they have allowed their image to be associated with so much nastiness. And that is what happens when I look at somebody. Like, I think of someone like J.K. Rowling. She doesn't look any kind of way. I don't care about her physical appearance. It's just when I see that face and that kind of smirk she does in all of her pictures, my mind is just like transphobia. And that's the problem. I'm not saying like, oh, I don't like your face. I don't like you look like transphobia. What the heck? How'd you do that? Trump's up there giving a speech. I'm like, you literally look like racism. That's crazy. Joe Rogan on his podcast, and I'm just like, you look like complicity. This is ugly. So I said what I said, and I would say it 5 million times. 5 million times. If Joe Rogan had some sort of twin brother who was completely fine, I would probably just be like, he just looks like some dude. I don't know. But yeah, I can't shake it. I'm trying. I really, really am. Someone said I instantly recoil. Her face jump scares me. It's y'all turned yourselves into living jump scares. And that is the problem that I fear. I really, really do. But yeah, no, like I still would like to reiterate, people's actual features are not things we should be associating with evil. You can't look evil just because you're old or whatever else it is. That's not a thing. But I think the other thing I said is a thing. I won't lie to you. I won't. Someone said you look like complicity taking this. Some people just really do, and it's not a good look. Y'all got to get over this. It really isn't. Oh, snap. I just remembered a scrapped topic. I was going to talk about this, but then I decided against it because it was kind of just like similar to things I've said about other people. But did y'all see that recent discourse about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson? Speaking of complicity. Did y'all see that recent discourse that's popping off because of his statements about not wanting to be political? They were so bad. This has been going on for a while because he made these statements in an interview, I want to say a few weeks ago, but I don't know, like no one had read that, and then it resurfaced and people were talking about it on Reddit and on Threads, and it's turned into this whole thing. Dwayne Johnson criticized by Will Wheaton and George Takei for political neutrality. And I'm just like, oh, snap. the reason I was starting to make this into a video, and I was like, wait a second, this is exactly like my video about Jelly Roll, in my opinion. If you've watched my Jelly Roll video, which I'm actually happy about because I feel like I did a good job of explaining my issue there, it's the same thing where you have somebody who it's like your insistence on appearing apolitical just suspiciously is manifesting as regret over aligning yourself with leftism in any way, shape, or form, but somehow being okay with being perceived as being right-wing. And that's kind of how I feel about this. So it says right here, this is not my article and I've never read this article, so I don't know what's in here, but it says the Hollywood culture war has claimed its newest battlefield. Oh God. Okay, parade. Calm down. The silence of the biggest movie star on earth. Dwayne The Rock Johnson, the biggest movie star on earth. Maybe physically, the dude looks like he could bench press a school bus, but like, come on, guys. Dwayne The Rock Johnson, whose brand is built on being the likable everyman, faces growing criticism from classic sci-fi royalty. Will Wheaton, for those of you who don't know, is from Star Trek: The Next Generation, and George Takei is from Star Trek. Is he from the OG Star Trek? Actually, am I failing my Star Trek history right now? Yeah. He's genuinely Sulu. Okay, on God, let's go. I was like, wait, he's still alive? Wait. Dang. He's 89. That's crazy. I mean, like, so many people from Star Trek are still alive. William Shatner's still alive. So I don't know why I turned into an idiot for a second there. But anyways, I'm so stupid. Will Wheaton and George Takei have called out the action star's recent political retreat, sparking an online debate about whether neutrality in modern America is a luxury or a form of cowardice. Chat, I don't think that's a debate. I don't think there's anything to argue about. Neutrality is objectively a luxury because some of us quite literally cannot afford we cannot afford to be neutral when we are made into problems. Now, I guess this article is saying, is it just a luxury or is it you actually being cowardly? I would say both things are true for sure. The spark caught fire when Will Wheaton publicly criticized Johnson for backtracking on his previous political stances. Look at. In 2020, The Rock broke his usual silence to endorse Joe Biden. But by 2024, he told Fox News... Why are you talking to Fox News? That he regretted the division that the endorsement caused, stating he would not endorse a candidate again because his goal is to, quote, bring this country together. So, what happened between 2020 and 2024 that turned you MAGA? Because listen... He's going to call this apoliticism. He's going to call this not actually having a stance. But if you went from endorsing Joe Biden to appearing on Fox News and saying, actually, that was a bad idea, guys, you are a conservative for sure. Come on now. It's not like he just put this out on his Substack. Dwayne The Rock Johnson was like, oh, I might have like missed the mark on this. Why are you talking to Fox News, Borski? To Wheaton, that isn't unity. It's lack of a spine. Okay, ChatGPT. Just kidding. The it's not X, it's Y construction did exist before ChatGPT. But still, the statement, which was a reply to Star Trek alumnus Takei's post on the matter, say, okay, I don't really want their opinion about this. Let me just click into this. So it says right here, let me find his original stance. Now you see why I don't do these things live, because it takes forever to Google, but it can be fun, low-key. The Rock statement, apolitical minus AI. I don't want an AI response. Okay, looks like BuzzFeed will help us out. Yes, for once. Okay, so The Rock sat down for an interview with Esquire where the topic of Bruce Springsteen's, quote, overtly political Land of Hopes and Dreams American tour came up, and the interviewer asked The Rock about his approach to discussing politics, or not discussing it. And he asked for a moment to think about his response. Okay, fair. Go ahead. The funny thing is, this is the same thing that Jelly Roll did, just on a longer time frame, where they asked him about ICE, and he was like, I'm going to get back to you. And then he never did. But The Rock at least answered and said he doesn't want to complicate his public identity as a movie star by getting political. What I have learned through experience is that I need to keep need, not want. The main thing. And the main thing for me, the thing that in the morning I swing my legs out of bed and I run towards, is creating. It's art. It's storytelling. I've learned I'm going to keep my politics to myself. Yes, chat, the famously apolitical mediums of creation, art, and storytelling, which famously have never had any sort of messaging attached to them in any way. Despite the fact that Dwayne jokes later in the interview about the suggestion of him running for president, he said he doesn't, quote, like politics. Politics is omnipresent and it's forever. I don't like it, he confessed. I hate it at times. I hate the slinging. I hate all the BS that comes with it. Me too. I hate politics as well. I imagine how tired we are of it, you know? Using Springsteen's criticism of Donald Trump as an example, The Rock suggested that, this is me editorializing, instead of Bruce Springsteen criticizing Donald Trump publicly, it would have been better if the two men sat down face to face and talked it out. When I hear you talk about Springsteen, who I love, and this idea that he's speaking directly to Trump in his concerts, my first thought as you were telling me that in my head, I went, oh, then why don't they talk? He said. They should sit down and talk. I don't know where that goes, but I do know that's an important step. Forgive me for thinking it's not actually that high up on my list of priorities to sit down with people who quite literally want me dead and are working pretty hard to bring that reality into play. I don't think that's actually very necessary at all. And it doesn't take away your right to publicly protest against these things, as Springsteen is doing. In the current political climate, a celebrity distancing themselves from politics isn't a good look. What is this linking to? Is this about Jelly Roll? Oh, it's Gwyneth Paltrow? Oh, God, she did the same thing? Come on. Okay, so she said she's very progressive, which is good. Okay. She says, and I think in this climate, sometimes I'm like, can you just listen to this? It's very triggering for people. It's become so binary, I think. I'm trying to, in my journey through being an American right now, trying to, I don't know, I guess sort of weave together lots of different points of view, and also to get out of that place of like righteousness and anger and fear. And I mean, I'm pretty centrist, and my husband thinks I'm a Republican. But I think which I'm not a Republican. I don't feel anything right now, to be totally honest with you. I feel like I'm completely an independent. Gwyneth, if your actual partner is like, God, you're such a Republican, and you're unwilling to identify as a leftist in any way, but centrist works for you, you are a Republican. This is wild to me. I literally cannot. Anyways, hopping back into The Rock's POV, I wonder what these... Oh, wait. No, this is over. Okay, now they're just talking about what people on Reddit are saying. Someone right here said, it's so clear his only goal is to have the largest possible audience and alienate the fewest possible people. His films are simultaneously for everyone and no one. He wants to be thought of as Mr. Protagonist by no less than 8 billion people. He's upset that he would lose a single paying customer by denouncing fascism. Those are his priorities, plain and simple. And I would have to agree. And this applies to a lot of people, by the way, not just The Rock. But yeah, people whose job it is to make money by having fans, I think some of them have foolishly come to the conclusion of like, okay, well, I just can't ever upset anyone. And therefore I will have the most fans. And I'm like, no, catch me skipping your next release because I just find this to be cowardly as hell. But yeah, I thought about just playing that whole game of like, okay, I'm gonna pull his statements and we're gonna look at his original endorsement and then his Fox News stuff 2024, and then I was just like, wait, I'm bored. And then I just moved on to a different topic that I felt like I had more to say about, because I'm just like, we get it. It's happening all over the place. He's not even the first person to do or say this. Someone said right wingers who don't want the smoke. Yeah, I mean, that too. Like, I don't know, dog. Who are some of the biggest pop people right now? Have you ever heard of this small upcoming artist? She's making some headway. I don't know. Maybe she has a few more years before anybody knows her name, but I just feel like Olivia Rodrigo has been pretty aggressively leftist in the everything she's ever said politically. Like, very much has incorporated this into part of her, not just brand, but actually putting her money where her mouth is, using her tour to help people financially get access to, you know, abortions or things like this. Like, all of this is very leftist energy. And just, it's funny how she still seems to be able to book these late night appearances and do all of these other things. Do you know why? Because she's making good music. I feel similarly about, say, people like Billie Eilish, people like Rachel Zegler popping off right now. Just all of these things. It's funny how it's like, if you're actually good at your job and you're outspoken about the things you believe in, you don't have to worry about this, seemingly. I do think a lot of these people, I don't want to make it like a quality control issue, but I do feel like if you're so scared of losing fans, maybe you wouldn't be if you were just focusing a little bit more on, does my product stand on its own to where I can be a real person outside of it, or do I have to be fake and present something that would never piss anybody off so nobody starts thinking too deeply about the things I'm putting out? But anyways, that's all I have to say about that. That's really all I have to say. She's a great example of somebody who can be outspoken and still be one of the most popular people currently operating. It is false that you have to remain apolitical in order to remain popular, and therefore it is just hard for me to believe that it's anything other than this like covert right-wing-ism that people just don't want to admit to, because they know that that's a pretty bad look. It's so silly, dog. Someone said he knows he can't afford to lose a fan. Yeah, some of y'all, I understand, because some of y'all can't even afford to lose none of y'all fans. So I get it. But I think when you're making things that are good enough to piss people off and still thrive, that's when you know you're onto something. Chase that energy, I feel. That's just my opinion. So silly. So said Mark Ruffalo could never. Mark Ruffalo is outspoken as hell. That man is always saying something about politics, and it's like, he's still Mark Ruffalo. What are you gonna do? Fire him? Probably not. I feel like make yourself irreplaceable is how I feel. When you are a celebrity is what I'm saying. Obviously, the average person does not have as much power and influence and ability. A lot of us, not like me, I'm grateful to like be able to say whatever I want, but like a lot of people are in jobs where like you can't even be free about your opinions and stuff like that. But like, if you can get away with it, I think you should. Someone said, okay, wait, hold on, wait. We've got some nuance here, and I think it is important though. Someone said, I do think it's important to point out that some celebs were blacklisted for speaking on Palestine early on. That is true, though. That is true. The first person who came to my mind would be Melissa Barrera. And that is what happened to her. She spoke out on her own personal Instagram account against the genocide that was happening, against the conditions in Gaza, and she got like fired from the Scream franchise, which was a massive slasher horror series that she was like the lead in the most recent, or not the most recent one, but before that. And yeah, she got blacklisted as hell. It was very bad, actually, very ugly what they tried to do to her career. I will say this though, like, The Rock's still a coward. ain't nobody finna blacklist him. You know what I mean? You're absolutely correct for sure. But if he's so much as said literally like, oh, you're asking me about my politics, I don't support the things that are happening right now, no one's firing him. So like, I'm not even like disagreeing or arguing with you. I feel like it is important to think like it's not without its risks, especially depending on how much of a safety net you are or are not able to have. But people like The Rock literally have all the safety and are the last people who I believe need to be quote unquote careful about revealing their politics to people. But yeah, no, the blacklisting, it does happen. It really, really does. And I just, y'all are foul. Honestly, that's all I can really say. Like, it's just foul the way that they treated her over this, but that's okay. Keep going. She's still here. You know what I mean? The Scream doesn't need her anyway, or she doesn't need Scream. I don't know. I'm trying to say this in a way that is just like, screw the franchise. She should keep going. Another thing I would like to say, speaking of nothing that was previously mentioned, but do you know what I think is getting weird? It's getting a little odd. Even though I'm not making a video about it because I don't really have anything to say about this. Millie Bobby Brown discourse. I don't let me do the commentary thing of making up a problem that doesn't exist, so I have something to make a video about. It's not something I see all the time, but as I'm like aggregating topics from all over the place, I see so often like Millie Bobby Brown. This is not related to anything we were just saying. I'm just bringing up random things. Millie Bobby Brown spotted outside with a stroller. There was like a whole thing where a photo was taken of her and her husband was behind her, and it turned into discourse about like women with babies, like the workload that they have to do. And I understood why that was happening, obviously. And then she put out a statement of like, I was holding my bags because I wanted to hold my bags, and people were like breaking that down. So that was happening. And then like her statements or relationships with her coworkers have been analyzed to hell, and things that may or may not have happened, I don't know, on the set of Stranger Things. And David Harbour discourse is happening, and way too much discourse about her appearance, as always. Unfortunately, that's been going on since she was literally a child. But I'm just like, dude, the absolute state of Millie Bobby Brown discourse, which again, I cannot stress is not a real thing to the average person who's not chronically online. I just have to be chronically online, otherwise I won't know what to talk about. I'm just like, dang, bro. maybe it's all worth having and I'm like missing the point, but I'm just like, she just, I don't know, she stroll around with baby and does all her jobs and projects and stuff. I had no idea there was so much to say or think, so that's all I've got. Someone said the bullying she gets for filler. It literally does not matter what she did or did not choose to do with her face. That's never going to be a reason to be bullying people over their looks, is how I feel personally. Also, the internet does this a lot, where they will bully someone over their looks relentlessly, even children, and then this person will turn around and do cosmetic procedures, and then the internet's like, oh my god, what happened to her face? Really, guys? Really? It's the same accounts. I can literally see your post history. You said both of these things. Why are you acting so? You were in spaces where people were criticizing this person's appearance. That pisses me off really bad. Again, I'm not saying I don't care what Millie Bobby Brown has done, but that was absolutely part of this narrative as well, of people just relentlessly bullying this person for her looks, even back when she was just a little girl. And then now all of a sudden it's like, oh my god, she's done things, and I'm just like, y'all. One day, I don't know what's gonna happen one day, but it will happen. That's all I know. Someone said it's impossible to win. It very much is, and that is why I just I don't make those types of videos. Oh my god, so and so's new face. Who cares? Oh, I made a total of one video about somebody's new face, and that was Jim Carrey, because it had turned into an actual internet conspiracy, and I felt like most people didn't even understand what blepharoplasty or camera angles or any of this stuff was. So I did chip in there because I actually had a point. That wasn't just me acting shocked because somebody's face looked different. But yeah, other than that, you're not gonna catch me doing this, dog. No way. Someone said some people are just bullies on the internet. No matter what it is, if there's an opportunity to like get the last word in or say something rude, there are people online who are going to take it. Unfortunately, that is true. Someone said, "Who gives an F for real?" So sad. Yeah, no, just let people be. I've said this before though. It's just tricky because people want to criticize, as they should, the trends of people feeling like they need to change their face, because that's not a good thing. It's actually pretty bad that, people in their 20s and 30s are feeling pressured to get facelifts. Objectively, I'm not saying Millie has done this. I'm just talking about in Hollywood, we know that people in their 20s and 30s are getting facelifts. Specifically, women are getting pressured into doing this to retain this like impossible look that you literally could not have at that age. That's not good. And we obviously recognize that as being a bad thing. It's just the sad thing is like, because you can't direct that criticism towards society as a whole, it winds up falling on individual people super heavily and in a way that feels really aggressive and not productive to me. And that's what really sucks. You know, when somebody pops out and the whole comment section is just like, oh, this is so sad. And oh my gosh, society. And I'm just like, dang. Because at the end of the day, this is still 500 comments on a thread criticizing somebody's face. Even if it's within the context of being deeply unhappy and scared that we live in a world where people feel that they have to do these things with their faces because they're not given opportunities just for looking like or aging like normal people. So I wish there was a more equitable way of talking about these things. And I'm sure there is, but it takes a little more nuance, I think, than just like waiting for the next celebrity to show up who looks different and everybody piling in and saying, oh God, we hate this. I'm just like, dang, that's rough, buddy. Anyways, someone said I thought the substance was mid. I liked the substance because it went there. So I respect it for that, for sure. I think the substance was very deeply unsubtle, which I wasn't expecting. But as I've like, I don't want to say grown, I don't know if it's my taste have changed. I've developed more of an appreciation for not subtle media that's just not subtle at all. So I was like, okay, fine. We're just saying all the things for sure. We really, really are. Someone said The Substance was a cool movie. I thought it was cool. I think like when I sat down and I realized that the main character's name was Elizabeth Sparkle, I was like, okay, me taking this movie seriously would be my bad. So I'm just gonna accept whatever happens in this movie. And because I went into it that way, it was more fun. Maybe not the exact movie I was looking for, but I was like, oh, this is just like, this is a fever dream. It's really a fever dream. Someone said facelifts matter in acting and showing emotion with facial expressions. Otherwise, I couldn't care what they do with their faces. Well, yeah, it's changing things. Everything that is happening currently in Hollywood is conspiring to make movies worse, on God. The trend of making it impossible for people to emote is affecting acting negatively. The trend of making it impossible for you to see any sort of wrinkles or definition on people's faces is making lighting worse. All of these things are happening and movies are looking uglier. They're looking softer. Everybody is homogenizing. Us demonizing certain like facial features and being like, you can only have this type of nose and you can only have these type of eyes and you can only have these type of cheeks is making everyone look the same. And by the way, it's not only actresses. Men right now are also going through some crazy things on screen where like you have to have hair that looks a certain way and you have to have this certain type of body, even if your character is literally just like someone's dad. You still have to look like you could be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like, all of these things are just, it's getting kind of ridiculous, guys. And I don't really know what the end goal is, to turn movies into like this formless, shapeless thing in which no one is that different from the other, and therefore none of them are offensive in any way. But I am not rocking with it. I'm not rocking with it. I want weird movies, and I want emotive faces, and I want not ugly actors, because that's an oxymoron. I just want people outside of the norm, just as much as I want your obviously conventionally attractive people. I feel like movies need all of it, for real. Someone said it's sabotage. It feels like why? I think the thing is too, I think about like Barry Keoghan, who I've talked about before. I've mentioned this on stream, but like literally bullying him about his appearance to the point where he didn't want to leave the house on bullying appearance. I don't want the AI to answer this for me. Yeah, HuffPo. Oscar nominee says, whoa, this website is so... what the heck? We got auto-playing videos and full-screen pop-ups. Oscar nominee says bullying over his looks is becoming a problem. I don't even want to be on screen anymore. It's gotten so bad it's left him opting to stay inside. There's a lot of hate online. There's a lot of abuse of how I look. And it's kind of past the point of, you know, everybody goes through that, but it's made me shy away. It's made me really go inside myself, not want to attend places, not want to go outside. And I'm just like, oh, I need to spell this man's name correctly. No matter what your reasoning is, I just don't care. It doesn't matter if you find this person attractive or not. That's not the point. Nobody's physical appearance is a reason to bully them. It just isn't. I just feel like sometimes people have this really nasty habit of being like, oh, well, I don't find this person attractive, therefore I need to make it their problem. And I'm just like, can we not? Let's just not, is how I feel about that. But yeah, I've seen like massive, just the ugliest things imaginable said about this man because of his face. And I'm like, why? Say anything about anything else. Why focus so heavily on the one aspect of people that they actually don't have control over? It's so stupid. Somebody said he looks average. He also doesn't look ugly. I try not to focus too heavily on that aspect of it, because it's not relevant, and he could actually have been ugly, I guess, and my point would have still stood. But like, also, he literally just looks like a dude. There's this dog. Y'all really be wild with the ugly accusations. Reading chat, someone says his face doesn't look bad. No, it doesn't. And people like, also, what I feel like, I'm putting my little sleevey things on. Okay, there we go. I feel like Ariana Grande. Also, what I feel like is underlooked is like, for every quote unquote weird looking dude, there's also going to be a subset of people who are just like, that right there is my type of weird. It happens to every dude who looks just a little bit slightly different from other people. You gonna have a fan base of people who are just like, finally, I have found what I'm looking for, and it's this. It doesn't matter what you look like. Every dude who has a mildly interesting or unconventional face is also going to have a bunch of people who think that they're hot. So I also feel like we should stop pretending like anybody is ugly, because you could be ugly to 99 people and there would still be that one person who's just like, let's go. That's all you really got to focus on. Even though, like, he's still completely valid to feel bad because people are bullying him. I'm not saying, like, oh, just ignore the negativity. No. Someone said to me, he's handsome. Honestly, I'm that person. Dude, like, on God, I've said it before and I will say it again. If the world can agree, maybe not everybody, and maybe you're like, not me, but if the world can agree that Benedict Cumberbatch has a nice face, a lot of people think this, and I agree too, because I just like faces that have interesting features. Then can we just please let go of our idea of conventional anything? Can we just move on? Please. We have literally taken somebody who nobody else looks like, and it is not even possible to look like Benedict Cumberbatch unless you are Benedict Cumberbatch, and have decided, like, yeah, we can see that this guy is attractive. So, like, it doesn't matter. The plot has been completely lost. There is no convention. It's so silly. Somebody said, I love his face. He has a dope face. As an artist, I like all of these faces. I like Barry Keoghan's face. I like Benedict Cumberbatch's face. Because, like, I want something to latch onto. It's actually much easier for me to draw if there is something about you that is a lot different than other people. I don't know, man. Someone said his personality being nice makes you hot. Well, that's a huge part of it too. I mean, we assume he's nice, and he certainly appears to be. Yeah, like if you look weird in any way and then you also are a creep, that's not going to go well for you. But if you look weird in any way and you just also seem to be a nice guy, it might actually be like endearing to some people, or even a ton of people. Someone said, what topic are we on right now? I guess me arguing about why people find Benedict Cumberbatch attractive, which I don't disagree with, but me just saying, like, your face could literally be anything. You could have the most unconventional anything, and as long as essentially you're not the worst person ever, you're going to have a fan club of people for your face. You really, really will. Someone said, I want to see more non-white people. Me too. Unfortunately, diversity is on a downtrend as per that UCLA study that we looked at in another video. But yeah, no, like, let go of the standard. Also, I'm going to take my glasses off as I say this one. Because if I can't see anything, nothing can hurt me. But I've said this before in another video, and I'll say it again. It's not lost on me how even when people are literally white, a lot of times when they get considered ugly or whatever, it's for not being close to a conventional European white beauty standard, and therefore closer to some other sort of feature that is more typically associated with people of different ethnicities. Which was a really long way of saying, like, a lot of ugly criticisms is actually just racism. But yeah, that's not lost on me. That's not lost on me at all. Especially not as, like, somebody, like, who has those features or sees those features in his family all the time. And I'm just like, oh, big noses are ugly? Oh, okay. That, y'all really think y'all slick. Y'all really, okay, that's fine. That's okay. Yeah, nah. Oh, big lips. That's just the ugliest thing you've ever seen. Okay. And then I just move on with my day because I can't do this. And also, like, anybody can look like anything as well. There's no one way to look black, and there's no one way to look anything. So it's just, we gotta let go of all of this. It's so stupid. Someone said conventional attractiveness be white supremacist for real. It just does. Like, your own personal tastes in face, that was a weird way of wording that, is your prerogative. You as an individual can and should feel however you feel. I mean, you can't even really control a lot of that, but it's still molded by society, and society itself is by and large, well, racist, specifically white supremacist. Yeah, it is, unfortunately. And that's just due to how history happened. Womp womp. Someone said, I grew up so insecure about my nose because it is big, but now I embrace it. I'm glad you were able to. I mean, the sad thing is, I think a lot of positivity is like telling people, just be happy. Just be happy with how you are. And it's like, do you know how impossible that is how impossible that can feel in the beginning to be happy about something when there's no blueprint for that? What does being happy about your big nose look like? What does being happy about your dark complexion. What does that look like? Like, we don't even see that modeled in a lot of places. What does being happy and proud of your lips actually look like? What does being proud of yourself, you know? And so we each have to create that for ourselves. Well, this is what being proud or okay with my nose looks like for me, because we didn't see that on TV growing up. Nobody was doing that. Nobody, unless I was watching the wrong programs back in the early 2000s, nobody was giving me instructions for that one, Chief. It really sucks. Someone said conventional attractiveness gives me the ick, especially when the feature is deemed hot on a white person and trashy on a non-white person. I have my one little catchphrase. When it comes to conventional attractiveness, we need to cancel the convention. The organizers have been found to be racist and unfair, and I think it's time to move into another space. Everybody just deem yourself beautiful and let society crumble, and you can figure out the rest. Someone says, screw the body slash feature shamers. For real, on God. Like, it's tired. It's tired. And we don't need to be bringing that energy into the new, what? I don't know. Q3, I guess. The third quarter of the year is starting, which I'm excited about tomorrow. That means, from a business perspective, nothing really, because I'm just going to keep doing the same thing I've been doing. But let's not bring the weird featureism and all that stuff into Q3, please. Thanks. Thank you. Reading chat. Someone said big noses and crooked noses and unique noses are so beautiful. It makes me sad seeing people with gorgeous noses paying to get cookie cutter Barbie noses. Okay, wait. Can I be a little performative though, actually? Because everything I just said was like real, obviously. And this next thing I'm saying is real too. But I know it's going to come across as performative to you. I don't care. You will never understand the extent of my appreciation for noses, actually. I swear to God that a nose with character is the number one most underrated trait on a face. It just is. And character can literally mean anything. That can mean crooked. That can mean what we consider to be big. Character can be small. Character can be a button nose. Your nose literally says, in my experience of people's faces, so much about why your face works the way that it does. And I also feel like your nose is what ties your entire face together, regardless of if it's in a way you like or not. I don't care because I like it. I find myself absolutely fascinated. Yeah, so I love me just a characterful nose. Just wonder, I'm just like, wow, that is a nose right there. That person absolutely has a nose for sure. Barbara Streisand, she was, unless I'm wrong about this, because now I'm pulling up things that happened before my time. So let me double check this to make sure we're not lying. 1, 2, 3. Okay, yes, I'm not lying. Barbara Streisand was literally bullied about her nose, which I just think is like, chat. Barbara Streisand wouldn't even look like Barbara Streisand. Oh, these are the blurriest pictures in the history of the world. They were literally trying to pressure her to get a nose job. And I'm just like, so that you can stop looking like Barbara Streisand? God, we lost the plot. And thankfully, she was like, well, actually, screw you guys. And she didn't do that. And I think that's great. Yay. Noses for the win. I just think it's also really tricky too, though, because like when the industry that you're in and society is putting so much pressure on you to change this aspect about yourself, I can't blame anybody for doing it either. That's the thing. I blame society. I don't know if people realize how difficult it is to very clearly be told you will be more whatever, successful, attractive, this, that, the other, if you change this thing about yourself. It's hard to not do that. It really, really is, man. Someone said, look at her, she's gorgeous. She looks like Barbara Streisand. So yeah, at the end of the day, I get it. Cute noses are cute, but like cute also doesn't really mean anything. And no face would be complete without his nose. Now, also, if you're listening to all of this and you're like, D'Angelo, that's awesome and I love this for you, but I actually just changed my nose because I wanted to, I also think that's fine. That's valid. This part is always like really, I always feel very not woke saying this part, but I always want to throw out a little bit of validation because I know people in my personal life who have literally just been insecure with some aspect of their appearance, and then they just went out and changed it because they could, and then they were happier, and that was the end of it. They didn't really hate themselves in any way. And I'm like, you know what? Honestly, at the end of the day, you can and should do whatever you want to your own face. That's why it's there. I just think it would be silly to ignore the society that creates these insecurities for people in the first place. It can never truly be disconnected from the environment that you grew up in, obviously. And so I will like literally forever criticize these attitudes that lead people to feel like individual features are not good enough, because there is no feature that's not good enough. But also, I can't ever move my stance from people should do what they want to do. But both of these things are true, and that's how I feel. Both of these things are true. I don't know. I want to see what the world looks like in which we never held any sort of feature above any other. And then what kinds of cosmetic surgeries and procedures would people be doing? I think that would be more interesting to see to me personally. Someone said it's fine if you're in the right headspace and aren't doing it for the wrong reasons, like pleasing others. Yeah, no, like you can get cosmetic surgery for yourself. I would never really believe that's why anybody in Hollywood is doing it. Obviously, I wouldn't believe that's why anybody in the music industry is doing it, because no, come on. But like, you can also just do whatever you want in this world. You really can. So I'm insecure, so I get tattoos. That's a win-win, because now you feel better about yourself and you have crazy good-looking artwork. So that's the way to do it. If you want tattoos, don't get them if you don't want them, because they don't come off. Guys, I just keep scrubbing and scrubbing and the tattoos are still there. Oh no. Someone said, I just went to the orthodontist. Yeah, I fixed some of my teeth a little bit. They're still not perfect, but I'm very happy with them now. I just didn't like the way that they looked before. And I feel better with the way that they are now. Because they were like hella crooked, actually. Now, they just like reasonably crooked in a way that I think adds character to my face and I'm proud of. But yeah, no, like, I don't regret that. I don't think I changed my teeth because society like made me want to, or maybe they did, but who cares? It was my choice, and I would do it again. I really, really would. But the thing about me is like, I still like non-perfect teeth though. That's the thing. I'm never gonna let these people anywhere near my grill with veneers or anything like that, because I don't want a row of perfect pearly whites. In fact, I think literally in my last YouTube thumbnail, unless I'm mistaken, it was the one that I did for that weird boy mom controversy, whatever. But I was like, baby, these are my teeth. Put that joint in the thumbnail. I don't care at all. What you see is what you get. I got one row of straight, beautifully straight and perfect teeth at the top, and one row of whatever the hell my teeth feel like doing at the bottom, because that's just how they work. Yay. Someone said I'm scared of the dentist. Dentists can be scary. I would agree. Orthodontics is also a pretty harrowing process in general. Reading chat. Someone said I agree about the noses. I love me a snoot. Thank you for understanding what I'm saying. For real, for real. Reading chat. Someone said I never got braces and I'm proud of it. Yeah, like if you don't want to do it and it's not making your life harder to leave it. Who cares? It really is what it is. Someone say you're recreating the thumbnail. Like, what the hell? Yeah, I make the same faces all the time. I always pull my thumbnail faces from my actual face. I have an expressive face, and all I have to do is just scrub through my video and find somewhere where I was making like a or like a and then I just use that as a thumbnail, and it always works. Someone said I've had braces for 2 years and I'm gonna crash out. Excuse me. That's why I switched from braces to Invisalign a while back, because I hated having metal braces. They were so I didn't love it. I didn't care about how they looked. I actually thought they were kind of cute, but God, they're not a convenient thing at all. They're really, really not. Someone said that I wish Demi Lovato kept her gap, but I know it can cause dental issues. Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. Not even just thinking about a specific person. Celebrities do this all the time, where they just like yeet a gap in their teeth. And whereas that's every person's right to do, and they should do it if that's what they want to do, because as you said, they can also literally cause dental issues. Tooth gaps are like the best. They're just like chef's kiss. Maybe it's more of like a character design thing for me than an actual person thing. Like actual real humans, you can do whatever you want to your teeth, but I think like from a character design perspective, there is just something about like a slight gap in the teeth that can just be the cherry on top of like an already well-designed character. That's how I feel. Someone said I like teeth gapping people, it's cute, but I hated mine and got braces. I don't know. Both of those are the right answer. Liking it and feeling other people should do what they want, and also it's just not being right for you. Both of those things are the right answer. Someone said it's the London look. For real, for real. Someone said I love expressive faces. It makes social situations much easier to understand as a neurodivergent person. Yeah, I would imagine, and I would agree. I truly, truly would. Someone said my tooth gap got closed 3 times and it always comes back. Brother, it's not your tooth gap. The face belongs to the tooth gap. It's your tooth gap's face that you have, so maybe you should capitulate. No, I'm just kidding. Maybe the 3rd time's the charm, 4th time's the charm. Also, I called you brother, but that's gender neutral as far as I'm concerned. You could be anything. Someone said my mouth. We've never talked about tooth stuff on here. This is such an interesting conversation. My mouth was too small for all my teeth, so now I have 2 extra teeth on top. Oh man, of my jaws that look like fangs, and I don't know if I should remove them or not, because on one hand convenient, or the other hand vampire teeth. It sounds like it looks very cool. If it is just going to be better for you to change it, you should at least get a really cool picture and tell people, hey, I used to have vampire teeth, and then show them that, because it sounds dope. But yeah, no, like sadly, because of the way that my teeth used to be crooked, it was just incredibly inconvenient. It was hard to clean them properly. They were just prone to like cavities and stuff, and even eating was like a little hard. So I don't know. Teeth are just annoying. They're annoying as hell, man. And I keep thinking about teeth because I'm watching Love Island. I didn't bring it up. I haven't brought it up for 3 hours and 14 minutes. Someone mentioned it in the beginning and I laughed it off, but I waited 3 hours and 14 minutes before bringing up Love Island today. I've been thinking about it because I accidentally started watching the UK version as well. I don't know. I don't know why, but I did. So unfortunately, I'm watching Love Island twice at the same time. But I've been thinking about teeth a lot because there are those memes about like British people and teeth, which are, I'm sure, not fair memes. But I was thinking how everybody on that show has perfect teeth anyway, though. And even with it being like more culturally, I don't know, common or whatever to not change your teeth even while being on TV or whatever, just still seeing rows and rows of impossibly shiny pearly whites and like the straightest teeth imaginable, almost as straight as the show itself. Love Island is just like a painfully straight experience. I'm just like, it's so interesting seeing how things change over the years, because I feel like probably there was a time when everyone would have just had normal teeth and not like these veneer like plastic looking things. It's so interesting. Someone said Angelista's great. Someone said they love Jasmine and Ellie. I do too. Okay, again, you're only getting bits and pieces of my Love Island commentary because I'm saving it all for a video, even though I have no idea how long this video is even going to be. Like, I'm literally scared. But as a whole, I not gonna lie, I liked the women contestants a lot more. The show is just full of people, so some of those people are problematic. They're just annoying and they're not good people. But as a whole, almost all of the male contestants are terrible in some way. I think everybody has their qualms and their quirks for sure, but I'm just like, you guys need to do, or maybe that's just the point of the show, or maybe it's the editing, but you guys need to do like a better screening process, because you literally keep pulling out the worst dudes imaginable. And I'm literally talking about on Love Island USA right now, it's giving incel. It got to the point where I started off the show and I was having fun. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so funny, like quirky, haha, I'm watching Love Island. And now it's to the point where I'm like, at least 2 of the men on Love Island USA, they are incels. I know this to be true. You can't convince me otherwise. I know this is the part where somebody swoops in and tells me, well, no, incel actually has this one really specific... These are red pill podcast type men, and they hate women, and they genuinely believe that these women owe them sex. I'm sorry. It's just true. So I'm like, okay, this is crazy as hell, because whereas you have women on the show who I think have their whole host of problems, they can be problematic or whatever in other ways. I'm like, why do you have multiple men up in here who literally hate women? I don't feel like any of the women have been hateful to that extent thus far. Someone said name them. It's KC. KC is number 1. And I want to say Corbin is the second one. But without a doubt, KC is a woman hating, like actually crazy levels of insidious misogyny, who... This whole show, and probably I think the way I'm framing it for the most part, is like the highs and lows. You have a beautiful love story involving these 2 people, and you have the most twisted, dark humiliation ritual type, like he's framing his entire existence through the lens of trying to destroy one woman's confidence. Dog, it's crazy. So yeah, anyways, some of these contestants, bro, it's like I want to hate watch this. I want to not root for anybody, but I find myself kind of aligning more so with like the women contestants, and it's just wild. It's wild as hell to me. It's not good. Someone said KC for sure. Yeah, someone said literally KC, Corbin, Sincere, and 4 of the men are terrible right now. And last night, one of the new guys revealed himself to not be that great either. This Gog dude is trouble. But anyways, that's all I'm going to say for now. Gaslighting, manipulation, pressuring people, retaliation, humiliation. All of these things are happening on Love Island, actually. And it's insane. It's not good. And then in the UK version, which I'm catching up on, they were having this weird talk about body count. And it was literally like men versus women type stuff of like shaming. And I'm just like, nah, this is not good, buddy. This is not good. Someone said there's a guy named Sinister. No, his name is Sincere, but it's a bit of a misnomer, I fear. Yeah, no, that's a mess. Okay, you know what? Here's the other thing I'll say. When the guys on the show get screwed over, it's sad for sure, but it just kind of feels like a bad break, right? When some of the women on the show who have been booted off have gotten screwed over, they have been completely not given a fair shot due to the actions of one of the other men. I'm literally being serious. Like, I swear to God, I don't want to sit here and start naming names because then this is going to get boring, but I'm going to name names. If you watch the show, UK version, Ellie, she winds up leaving, or not Ellie, sorry. Robin winds up leaving because there's no one there for her because the dude she was there got booted off due to some sort of unnamed controversy that they're saying is just actually a family emergency, but then later people were saying it was slurs. That wasn't really her fault. Later, another person gets booted off because of her association with this other dude, Opie, who had no sort of emotional regulation. So like she gets kicked off and she gets kicked off. And in the US version, we have already seen like Soul getting dropped from the show because she was lied to by Sincere. And temporarily we've seen somebody else, Omora, get dropped from the show because she was lied to by Sincere. She came back, but like, I swear to God, there is something really, really unbalanced and odd in the water when it comes to how these dudes are playing this game. It's just scary. It's crazy as hell. But yeah, justice for Soul and Robin and freaking, I forget who else. Everybody, dog. It's just wild. It's wild as hell. Someone said justice for Robin and Soul and Hallie and literally everyone. Literally everyone. Please, dog. It's bad. Someone said, what is this show? It's dark-sided. It's dark-sided energy. It's sorry. I feel myself sitting up. I feel myself leaning forward. I'm locking in. That's the thing. I would never just make a video for you guys that I feel like doesn't have a point. Or yeah, I probably would because I literally just talked about Lizzo today. There wasn't much of a point there other than like, oh, this is just weird. But I literally was going to talk about Love Island because I just thought it would be obviously some views and I could make a point about reality TV. Ha ha ha, quirky. Dude, it has literally turned into like there's just so much to say about like double standards and behavior and the way the excuses that like men will make for each other and how women will react in the face of these things. Like, I don't want to get into making it sound like men and women are fundamentally different creatures. What I mean is because Love Island is essentially a fantasy, it's not a real environment. You see all of these gender norms taken to the extreme because everything in the show is filtered through the lens of quote unquote girls and boys, which is already an insane way of describing people who are literally like 20 to 30. Sorry, as a 27-year-old, I'm not that's whatever. Anyway, so you do this whole splitting into girls and boys thing. You filter the entire show through the lens of gender and you force it to be straight no matter what is occurring. You're witnessing, it starts reflecting these problems that are currently happening in society to a massive degree. And it's literally wild. Like, it's just so interesting. So many examples of things that people complain about or rightfully point out as being problems in this real world of like getting accused of being aggressive as a woman when you're literally just speaking, or like, oh, you're emotionally dysregulated and you're too much, but it's literally just you having emotions. All of these problems pop up in Love Island. And yes, even the same stupid things that men are saying in real life of like, oh my gosh, the loneliness epidemic because these women aren't giving me a chance. They essentially pop up in this show too, but just in really warped ways where it's like, well, you didn't give me a chance, so I'm going to go with this other person who will type stuff. And it's like, there's been multiple incidents where a man in the show is unhappy with the woman that he's with. She doesn't want to do anything sexual because she's not consenting to that or whatever. And like, because the guys realize it's not good to like press someone on that and be like, oh, well, I think you should because I want you to. They start retaliating. They start antagonizing these women. I can literally think of multiple women currently on the show who are getting like punished essentially for not wanting to be sexual with these guys, or like, oh, you did that with him but not with me. And I was like, yeah, because she consented in this one case and not the other. The show also gets super like blurry with its whole idea of consent anyway though, because like obviously broadly I guess you could say that everyone there has consented technically to kiss anyone there, but I think you guys all know that that's not really how consent works at all. So when you have these weird challenges where it's like, oh yeah, as a dare, go kiss the person that you're most attracted to, and then you go kiss this person and she's like super not seemingly into it but has no choice because that's how the show works. There's just a lot going on there. there's just a lot going on there. So yeah, I've been taking notes. I've been trying to watch this not just as a reality TV show viewer, but as somebody who has a few points to make about like, and it's crazy because they could literally fix their problems. The show doesn't have to be this way, but it's leaning into some things that are just, they're insane. The viewers of the show, they are not the ones demanding this weird stuff. Because that's the thing, for every single episode of Love Island, after I finish, I go to the fan discussion spaces and I look and see what people are saying. And it's literally just a bunch of viewers saying like, this man is a misogynist. This is incel stuff. Oh, she didn't seem into this kiss. This is super weird. Why is he punishing her for not wanting to have sex? Like, I swear to God, it's not like a misogynist show for misogynist type beat. It's literally something where everybody is complaining and screaming about these things that are happening. So yeah, I didn't realize the extent of the hate watching that is going on there, but yeah, I have actually like a newfound appreciation for Love Island fans, because they've been on these dudes' case. It's literal hatred. I swear to God, nobody is letting any of these dudes get away with anything. They keep saying we want these men off of our television immediately. And I'm just like, dang, that's wild as hell. But yeah, that's my little check-in point about where I am with Love Island. It turned from me watching as a joke to me horrified, and now I have to finish just so I can talk about this, because what the actual what someone said them in on short gross, they really are. So yeah, again, if you're like, you know, this video's coming, you're like, oh my God, I still don't care, don't worry, it's not a video about me trying to get you to care. It's a video about misogyny, really, which is not what I thought was going to happen. I was like, this show, most people watching it are women, truthfully, like, just, or at least most people who are discussing it and that I have encountered, but like, that hasn't stopped it from being bizarrely problematic against the wishes of the people involved and consuming it. Crazy town. Sometimes I was planning to watch it as a joke, yikes, avoiding it. Here's the thing. If you're planning on watching it as a joke, you might be triggered. That's what's happening, is a lot of the things that are taking place on this show are literally triggering as hell. You're literally watching people get pushed to their breaking point of like crying and stuff, and then everybody's laughing at them, and literally people just in tears like, this is so humiliating, this is so disrespectful, and people off in the distance just like cackling, like kikiing it up. You're watching people get lied on and called aggressive. One thing that happened in the UK version, there was an argument and he said something really harsh, and then she said something harsh back, and he comes back out and he's like, she said this one thing, and left the part out where she said the original thing and was making her sound crazy and mean, and she was literally like, but you said this thing first. If you have ever been in a situation where somebody's bad behavior was like triggering to you, I just don't even think watching Love Island is going to be a good experience. Or you might have to make sure you really are steeling yourself for some of the worst behavior imaginable, dog. But yeah, that's my Love Island update. Some said KC and TT laughed at Melanie last night. I feel like they called her, did they call her dumb? I couldn't hear that very well. I'm gonna have to go back when I edit it, but I was just like, y'all are messy. Some people laughing at Naya for crying. Yeah. Oh. And racism. Am I stupid? How could I forget that? It's happening too, where you have multiple of the black women on the show just being like, dog, so much of this is rooted in my dark skin and the way that people treat me and have always treated me. And then you see those very same things happening. Literally black women on the show voicing like, my worst fear is to be treated this way as a dark-skinned black woman. But thankfully, and then the guys will literally be like, oh, you're so right, queen. And then they'll turn around and go do it. It's been a mess. Someone said and colorism out the wazoo. Actually, it's really crazy. So yeah, Love Island, not a nice island for women, black people, people of color, black women. Yikes on a bike is kind of where I am, for real. Someone said I made my boyfriend watch with me so we can understand relationship dynamics and make sure he empathizes with the women. That's good. You do not want to be with the dude who's like, oh, KC did nothing wrong. All these women are so annoying. You might want to move on, because that's just red flaggy as hell. Someone said Loathe Island. It's not Love Island, it's Loathe Island. But anyways, that's all I'm going to leave you with for today. I enjoyed the topic. Thank you so much for listening. And I don't really have anything else for now. So I'm probably going to come back on Thursday and we will talk about, unfortunately, Kim Kardashian and Kanye West's utter failure to be normal parents about Northwest, a child who we should not know anything about. But yeah, until then, bye everybody. Thank you. All right, let's see. Oh, someone said, can someone dumb down racism versus colorism? Colorism specifically has to do with the actual color of your skin, and it more disproportionately affects people with darker skin. Racism generally is just discrimination against your race. Goodbye! All right, let's see.